Konoha, left eye Rinnegan, right eye Reincarnation. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story and all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 1, which family was the best at gouging eyes during the Warring States period? The Uzumaki clan sought to resolve the situation. In the Land of Fire, at the Uzumaki clan's territory, a handsome young man with red hair sat quietly in the courtyard, watching the clouds drift across the sky, enjoying the rare tranquility. The blood-red sunset cast a brilliant glow, painting the entire world a vibrant crimson, a truly beautiful sight. If only life could always be this peaceful and happy, Uzumaki Shōsō sighed, taking a large gulp of the chilled watermelon juice beside him. Unfortunately, the Warring States period was the darkest and most chaotic era in the 1,000-year history of the ninja world. Only by gouging out enough eyes, only by being strong enough, could one survive. Suddenly, a thought struck Uzumaki Shōsō. He had received a message from his shadow clone. Good news. The Uchiha and Hyuga clans are going to war. Great. Excellent. Uzumaki Shōsō was thrilled. He finished the remaining half cup of watermelon juice, then used the 5 elements cautious release technique to burrow into the earth, rushing towards the battlefield of the Uchiha and Hyuga. To be on the safe side, Uzumaki Shōsō used a transformation technique to disguise himself, turning into a dark, muddy humanoid creature. Anyone familiar with the Naruto storyline would immediately recognize him as Black Zetsu. This transformation technique was different from ordinary ones. Uzumaki Shōsō had made slight modifications. He fused the Uzumaki clan's ancestral sealing technique with a transformation technique, fixing his transformed form in place. Unless the seal was broken first, his true form would never be revealed, and even the Sharingan and Byakugan couldn't see through it. Having been in the ninja world for so many years, Uzumaki Shōsō had primarily focused on improving ninjutsu and conducting experimental research. On an endless grassland, under a vast night sky, the bright moon hung high. The two powerful clans of the Warring States period, the Uchiha and Hyuga, were facing off. Each side had several hundred men, and in terms of numbers alone, they were evenly matched. Within the Uchiha camp, a long-haired boy whispered, "Izuna, once the war breaks out, I'll deal with Hyuga Tenin. You go and hunt down the other Hyuga clan members." "Yes, brother," the boy beside him, named Uchiha Izuna, nodded in reply. Izuna understood that Hyuga Tenin was the most outstanding genius among the younger generation of the Hyuga clan. Compared to him, he was perhaps still lacking. Whoosh, a chilling wind blew past, lifting the long-haired boy's bangs to reveal a pair of scarlet three-tomo eyes. "Uchiha Tajima, the Senju clan failed to defeat you, yet you dare to provoke our Hyuga clan. Today, I'll teach you a bloody lesson." From within the Hyuga camp, a burly man roared. He was Hyuga Tenfu, the clan head of the Hyuga clan, his temples bulging with veins, his 2 snow-white eyes ferocious and ruthless. "Arrogant," Uchiha clan head Uchiha Tajima sneered, "before the Sharingan of the Uchiha, your Hyuga Byakugan is nothing at all. Hyuga Tenfu, this day next year will be your death anniversary. Kill, kill." The two clans roared in unison, charging towards each other like 2 black tides, and war erupted instantly. Fire release, great fireball technique, gentle fist, 8 trigrams 64 palms, war is war. From the very beginning, it's a fight to the death, with no room for negotiation. In the very first exchange, both clans suffered casualties. 2 battlefields were particularly intense. One was the decisive battle between Uchiha Tajima and Hyuga Tenfu. Both were clan heads, incredibly powerful, their every move causing mountains to crumble and the earth to split. Every strike contained terrifying destructive power. The other location was the battlefield of the decisive battle between Uchiha Madara and Hyuga Tenin. These two were not only the most outstanding geniuses in their respective clans, but their illustrious reputations, forged during the long years of war, had spread throughout every ninja clan of the Warring States period. The sheer power of their duel rivaled that of the 2 clan leaders, and weaker clan members couldn't even get close. Boom, boom, bang, die. On the battlefield of the chaotic brawl among ordinary clan members, An ordinary-looking Uchiha clansman swung his long sword, slashing at a Hyuga boy. "You're asking for death?" The Hyuga boy's Byakugan opened wide, finding an opening in his opponent's defenses, and delivered a gentle fist to his chest. The Uchiha clansman screamed as he was sent flying, landing on the corpse of an Uchiha clansman who had just been killed by the gentle fist. With a casual flick of his wrist, he gouged out a pair of fresh, warm Sharingan eyes. He then pressed the corpse's face into the ground to hide it, struggled to his feet, and charged at another Hyuga girl with a strange howl. "I'll fight you to the death, you're courting death." The Hyuga girl was arrogant, snorting with her nose. Under her Byakugan's keen observation, this Uchiha clansman who had suddenly appeared was full of weaknesses. 8 trigrams palm, Heaven's Return. The girl used the Hyuga's signature technique, striking the opponent's chest with a palm strike, intending to shatter his entire sternum. Unexpectedly, the force dissipated the moment it hit him, as if hitting cotton, powerless and without application. "Ah!" The Uchiha clansman screamed and was sent flying, spitting blood. In the end, he landed perfectly on the corpse of a Hyuga clansman whose throat had just been slit. With a casual wipe, without any visible movement, he gouged out a pair of fresh, warm Byakugan eyes. Don't ask about a caged bird seal, it hadn't been developed yet in this era. The Uchiha clansman repeated the same tactic, pressing the face of the Hyuga corpse into the ground to conceal it, then letting out a tragic roar of "the Uchiha clan will prevail," before stumbling towards the next target. The battlefield was brutal, with casualties occurring constantly, and everyone was focused on dealing with the surrounding enemies. Therefore, the Uchiha clansman's subtle movements went unnoticed for the time being. He charged left and right, quickly gouging dozens of Byakugan and Sharingan eyes from the corpse. This war broke out just in time. Uzumaki, disguised as an Uchiha using the transformation technique, was overjoyed. "After tonight, I probably won't lack experimental materials for a while." Suddenly, he saw the proud Hyuga girl kill another Uchiha clansman with a single blow, spitting out fragments of internal organs. He was definitely dead. "This woman is fierce, she must be from the main branch of the clan," Uzumaki's Houxun secretly guessed, but shouted as he charged towards the girl, "Big brother, I've come to revenge you." The girl turned her head and was stunned when she saw Uzumaki's Houxun. "It's you again." Soon, the girl's gaze turned icy. "This time I'll definitely kill you." With that, she unleashed a fierce palm strike, and Uzumaki's Houxun retaliated with a palm strike of his own. Crack! A crisp sound of bones breaking rang out as Uzumaki's Houxun screamed and was sent flying. The girl wanted to chase after him and finish him off with another palm strike, but several Uzumaki clansmen nearby immediately surrounded him to provide support, forcing the girl to stop and fight back. Uzumaki's Houxun was sent flying backward like a broken sack, accurately smashing into his big brother's corpse, and then casually grabbing the 2 steaming Sharingan eyes, his movements more skillful than a butcher who had slaughtered pigs for 10 years at the village entrance. "This battle is for the glory of our Uchiha clan." Uzumaki's Houxun struggled to his feet, shouting a heroic cry as he staggered towards his next target. "This brother is too brave." The surrounding Uchiha clan members were all moved by his courage, believing Uzumaki's Houxun to be a true hero embodying the Uchiha spirit. One Uchiha girl was even moved to tears. She had been watching Uzumaki's Houxun for some time, witnessing him being sent flying by Hyuga clan members more than 10 times. Such severe injuries would have collapsed anyone else, but he had gritted his teeth and persevered, shouting the glory of the Uchiha. In a daze, the Uchiha girl seemed to see the glory of the Uchiha clan shining on him, so dazzling it was almost blinding. "If you survive this battle, I will marry you." The Uchiha girl made a silent vow. She was captivated by Uzumaki's Houxun's noble and tenacious character. Only such a hero was worthy of her. Then, the Uchiha girl challenged the Hyuga girl to a duel. The Uchiha girl was slightly weaker than her opponent, and after several exchanges of attacks, the Hyuga girl used her 8 trigrams palm strike to shatter the Uchiha girl's fire release technique, sending her flying. Chapter 2, What? Black Zetsu. Another one dead. Uzumaki's Houxun, with his keen eyes and ears, noticed a battle between the Uchiha and Hyuga girls, and his eyelids twitched involuntarily. The Hyuga girls are too fierce. I've already gouged out 4 pairs of Sharingan from her alone. After exclaiming, Uzumaki's Houxun, under the cover of fighting a Hyuga clansman, stealthily approached the Uchiha girl's corpse. Ouch! Uchiha Yume gasped. The Hyuga girl's palm strike had severely injured her. She felt a burning pain in her chest, as if it were about to explode, and she couldn't even turn over. The Hyuga clan's gentle fist technique is indeed not to be underestimated. Damn it, Uchiha Yume was filled with regret and indignation. Suddenly remembering the tenacious clansman who had conquered her with just her spirit, she was about to force herself to stand up and rejoin the battle when, out of the corner of her eye, she saw the tenacious clansman being knocked away by the enemy again, screaming as he hurtled towards her. Uchiha Yume's will to stand up was shattered by the slam, worsening her injuries. These Hyuga clansmen deserve to die. Uchiha Yume heard the stubborn clansman on top of her say this, and just as she was about to echo them, a large hand suddenly touched her face. Uchiha Yume didn't feel anything at first, but when two fingers landed on her eyelids as if gouging them out, a chilling coldness suddenly swept through her entire body. In a flash, she thought of a name that was an absolute nightmare for the Uchiha clan. Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu has appeared, Uchiha Yume screamed desperately. Holy crap, Uzumaki Jojuan was startled by her sudden appearance, his eye-gouging action halting. So you're not dead? What? Black Zetsu, the surrounding Uchiha clansmen were shocked. What? Black Zetsu, the Hyuga clansmen weren't the only ones shocked, they were shocked as well. The name Black Zetsu thundered in their ears, igniting the most sensitive nerves in both clans. What? Black Zetsu, Uchiha Madara and Hyuga Tenjin, locked in battle in the distance, turned their heads in unison. Uchiha Tajima and Hyuga Tenfu, fighting even further away, did the same. In an instant, both clans ceased their fighting, their gazes fixed on Uchiha Yume, who had called out Black Zetsu's name, and the Uchiha clansmen pressing down on her. Damn it, Uzumaki's Hakusen sensed something was wrong. He hadn't expected to be exposed in this way, he had wanted to gouge out a couple more eyes. At that moment, Uchiha Yume suddenly flipped over, delivering a powerful kick in a pose reminiscent of a beauty gazing at the moon, striking Uzumaki's Hakusen's chin with tremendous force. Crack, this time, it was a real fracture. Uzumaki's Hakusen was sent flying through the air, his body exploding into a cloud of smoke with a poof, transforming into a humanoid creature covered in black mud. Good. It really is Black Zetsu. The surrounding Uchiha and Hyuga clansmen, seeing Uzumaki's Hakusen reveal his true form, immediately erupted in fury. Black Zetsu, you dog, take my 8 trillion palms. The Hyuga clansmen instantly moved forward, unleashing their gentle fist techniques, raining down on Uzumaki's Hakusen. Uzumaki's Hakusen was only one person, no match for so many crazed Hyuga clansmen, and he retreated rapidly. Black Zetsu, you dog, prepare to die. At this moment, the Uchiha clansmen were truly bloodthirsty. Collectively unleashing fire release, hundreds of great fireballs shooting out. Good heavens, the scene was more spectacular than a missile launch. Boom, a deafening roar, and a mushroom cloud rose into the sky. These guys are too crazy. Uzumaki's Hakusen was beaten so badly he jumped up and down, extinguishing the flames on his body, and fled into the distance, not daring to linger for even a moment. You bastard, where do you think you're going? Hyuga Tennin used the body flicker technique, gathering a massive amount of chakra at his feet, and flashed in front of Uzumaki's Hakusen, unleashing a set of 8 trigrams 128 palms. It's worth noting that even in his previous battle against Uchiha Madara, he hadn't used this powerful technique, demonstrating the immense killing intent he possessed. Uzumaki's Hakusen dared not confront him directly. Hyuga Tennin was a genius on par with Madara and Hashirama. Although he hadn't appeared in the original story, rumors circulated that even in the late Warring States period when Konoha was established, his strength was no less than Madara's or Hashirama's. Ninja art, multiple shadow clone technique, Uzumaki's Hakusen formed hand seals, unleashing a ninjutsu he had painstakingly researched and developed himself. At this moment, Tobirama probably hadn't even scratched the surface of this technique. PFFT. White mist filled the air as hundreds of identical Black Zetsu appeared out of thin air, only to be utterly destroyed by Hyuga Tennin's 8 trigrams 128 palms. The remaining few Black Zetsu scattered and fled, trying to confuse the enemy. Stop, Madara Uchiha roared, gathering a massive amount of chakra and unleashing it. Fire release, great fire annihilation, a sea of fire erupted. Even during his battle with Hyuga Tennin, he hadn't been willing to expend so much chakra. PFFT, the sea of fire surged, igniting the grassland, and the scattered Black Zetsu were burned and exploded. Cheat, Uzumaki's Hakusen cursed, his main body using earth release to plunge into the earth, escaping quickly like a dragon entering the sea. Hyuga Tenfu used his Byakugan to observe Uzumaki's Houtson's position in the earth and decisively unleashed a Bagua mountain-shattering strike. A beam of chakra-condensed laser shot out, piercing the surface and blasting open a huge crater, sending a massive cloud of dust billowing into the sky. Moments later, the dust settled. Only a terrifying crater remained, not a single Black Zetsu could be seen. Damn it, he still managed to escape, Hyuga Tenfu cursed bitterly, his face ashen as if he'd swallowed a dead fly. His Byakugan could only observe things within a 5-kilometer radius. He could still see the figure of Black Zetsu, but the opponent was currently fleeing into the depths of the earth at an appalling speed, a speed he couldn't catch even if he tried. Uchiha Tajima, tonight's war ends here, Hyuga Tenfu said coldly. After our Hyuga clan annihilates Black Zetsu, we'll have a good fight with you Uchiha? Uchiha Tajima glanced at him expressionlessly and strode towards his clansmen. He didn't want to fight this battle anymore. Black Zetsu was simply too disgusting. Wherever he was, the Uchiha would never have peace. Previously, on the battlefields between the Uchiha and Senju clans, Black Zetsu would always lurk underground, stealthily moving about. Every time an Uchiha died, he would surface and gouge out their Sharingan. He even went so far as to desecrate Uchiha ancestral graves. Tonight, Black Zetsu was even more audacious, directly disguising himself as an Uchiha and active on the battlefield. Uchiha Tajima wished he could tear him to pieces. Chapter 3.3 Left Eye, Sharingan, Right Eye, Byakugan. Afterwards, the two clans began collecting the corpses. Because of Black Zetsu's appearance and disruption, which directly led to the collapse of the Dao in this war, the number of casualties on both sides was not large. However, when the two clans saw the corpses of their clansmen with their eyes gouged out, they were enraged. Black Zetsu, the Uchiha, Hyuga, will never forgive you. The anger in the hearts of the two clan leaders could not be extinguished even by the endless rains of the Land of Rain. Pass on my order, from now on, any Uchiha, Hyuga, clan member who sees Black Zetsu, regardless of the occasion or circumstance, must fight him to the death. Yes, the Uchiha and Hyuga clan members roared, accepting their clan leader's orders. They were filled with grief and indignation. They were all iron-blooded heroes, unafraid of death in battle, believing that dying on the battlefield was their honor. But they feared that their bodies would be desecrated after death, that even their last dignity would be denied, an unacceptable disgrace. Black Zetsu, in the crowd, Uchiha Madara murmured. As the eldest son of clan head Uchiha Tajima, he was naturally familiar with Black Zetsu. For the past few years, Black Zetsu had haunted the battlefield like a ghost. No one knew who he was, or where he came from. Even the name Black Zetsu was something he uttered himself during a Uchiha chase. Before that, the Uchiha clan called him the Black Bastard or Black Demon. Black Zetsu seemed to have an extreme obsession with eyes. He appeared on the battlefield doing nothing but gouging out the eyes of Uchiha and Hyuga clan corpses. Over the years of war, both clans had suffered greatly at his hands, countless eyes gouged out by Black Zetsu, yet he remained unkillable. His survival methods were endless, slippery as an eel. No matter your origins, daring to defile the Sharingan of the Uchiha, I will make you pay a bloody price, Uchiha Madara resolved. Meanwhile, deep underground, Uzumaki was fighting for his life. In terms of combat ability, he admitted that he couldn't compare to top geniuses like Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama, and Hyuga Tennin. Therefore, for the past 16 years, he had mainly focused on survival, developing a unique 5-element survival technique. He could switch freely between earth release, wind release, and water release. After mastering the 5-element survival technique, Uzumaki's Houtsung could confidently say that if he wanted to escape, even a cage-level shinobi couldn't stop him. This was his biggest confidence in gouging out eyes on the battlefield. He traveled over 100 kilometers underground in one breath. Just as he was about to reach his destination, Uzumaki's Houtsung first used Kagura Mind's Eye to sense his surroundings. After confirming that there were no abnormal chakra fluctuations within a 10-kilometer radius, he released the seal on his right eye. His right eye instantly turned into pure white Byakugan, and at the same time, the veins on his right temple bulged. There's not a soul in sight for 2 kilometers around. It seems I'm truly safe, Uzumaki's Houtsung breathed a sigh of relief. Perhaps someone could use sealing techniques to shield Kagura's mind's eye's chakra perception, But they absolutely couldn't escape the Byakugan's detection. All ambushes and schemes were futile against the Byakugan. Some might think Uzumaki Shōsō was overly cautious, but there was no other way. He was risking his life, so the more cautious, the better. He then resealed his right eye. As a member of the Uzumaki clan, he was already proficient in various sealing ninjutsu, and his right eye returned to normal. Uzumaki Shōsō traversed layers of soil, finally arriving at an underground passage. The passage's walls were inlaid with many glowing crystal balls, serving as illumination. As soon as his feet touched the ground, Uzumaki Shōsō deactivated his transformation technique with a poof, transforming from Black Zetsu into a handsome young man with striking red hair and sharp eyebrows. This was his true appearance, no longer some disguise. I was reckless tonight, not cautious enough, Uzumaki Shōsō frowned, reflecting on his shortcomings for the day. I should have confirmed whether that Uchiha girl was really dead before taking the Sharingan. If I hadn't been discovered so early, I definitely could have gotten many more eyes. I'll have to be more careful next time. Passing through the corridor, Uzumaki Shōsō arrived at a spacious laboratory. Two shadow clones, identical to him, were busy conducting research at a table. They wore white lab coats and held scalpels, the dim light casting a shadow on them, making them look like sinister surgeons in a black market. Beside the two shadow clones stood two enormous test tubes filled with an unidentified yellow liquid. Hundreds of Byakugan and Sharingan eyes floated and sank in the two tubes, creating a particularly eerie scene. Uzumaki Shōsō opened the test tubes and poured in the dozens of Byakugan and Sharingan eyes he had obtained that night. Looking at the dense array of eyes before him, a sense of pride and accomplishment welled up within him. These were the treasures he had accumulated over the years. The transparent test tube reflected Uzumaki Shōsō's handsome face. His right eye was a jewel-like white Byakugan, and his left eye was a scarlet Sharingan, with 3 black tomos spinning around. He felt he was one step closer to invincibility. Sometimes, Uzumaki Shōsō felt incredibly unlucky. Of all places to transmigrate to, he had to be transported to the darkest and most brutal Warring States period of Naruto, and without any cheat system. The Warring States period could only be described in one sentence: life was not something to be happy about, and death was not something to be sad about. Due to the inaction of the Fire Country's daimyo, wars frequently broke out between the various ninja clans, forcing even young children to go to the battlefield. Uzumaki Shōsō was only 5 years old when he first went to war. If it weren't for his older sister, Uzumaki Mito, protecting him, he probably wouldn't be alive today. At that time, the 5-year-old Uzumaki Shōsō watched his clansmen fall and die before his eyes. Having already been reborn, he understood even more how fragile and precious life was. His understanding was even deeper than Orochimaru's in the original story. From a young age, Uzumaki Shōsō made a vow to himself, to survive. No matter what, he had to keep his life and live to the very end. However, in the Warring States period, survival was impossible without strength. Uzumaki Shōsō relentlessly improved himself, developing the multiple shadow clone technique, the 5 elements escape technique, and the Rasengan. Then one day, he witnessed the 9-tailed fox obliterate a clan of ninja, attempting to capture it with a single-tailed beast ball. He realized that against absolute power, no amount of ninjutsu is useful. Even if he reached Tobirama's level, a single-tailed beast ball would reduce him to dust. Later, Uzumaki Shōsō contemplated life for a time and devised another path to strength. Thus, Black Zetsu, feared by the Uchiha and Hyuga clans, was born. Chapter 4, Section 4, Fusion Eyes. As everyone knows, Naruto, also known as the Legend of the Eyes, tells the story of the love-hate relationship between the Otsutsuki family. The Naruto world places immense importance on bloodlines. Commoner ninjas without proper bloodlines are merely cannon fodder. Might Guy, with his 8 gates, represents the pinnacle a commoner ninja can achieve, yet even he was short-lived, nearly ending the series with a single kick before dying. Moreover, throughout the centuries-long history of the ninja world, virtually no commoner ninja has reached Guy's level. As a member of the Uzumaki clan, Uzumaki Uchiha inherited some blood from Kaguya, but that bloodline wasn't particularly powerful, it was merely average. In terms of talent and strength, he couldn't compare to his sister Mito Uzumaki, Sasuke Sarutobi, or Hyuga Tenin, let alone Indra, Madara, the reincarnation of Ashura, or Hashirama. Therefore, to pave the way to becoming the strongest, he set his sights on the Sharingan and Byakugan. While his talent was mediocre, He firmly believed that science could change his destiny. This belief was inspired by Orochimaru. In the original story, Orochimaru only realized after being brutally defeated by Itachi that his powerful ninjutsu was utterly ineffective against the Mangekyou Sharingan. This led him to target Sasuke, meticulously plotting to possess Sasuke's body and evolve eyes like Itachi's. Unfortunately, Orochimaru miscalculated. He didn't know Sasuke possessed Indra's chakra, and his attempt to possess Sasuke ultimately failed. The Mangekyou Sharingan is indeed powerful, Uzumaki Shōsō muttered to himself, touching his left three-tomo Sharingan in the reflection of the glass test tube. But the Byakugan isn't much weaker. Uzumaki Shōsō then touched his right Byakugan. Knowing the original story well, he understood that the Byakugan's ultimate form, the Tenseigan, was in no way weaker than the Sharingan's ultimate form, the Rinnegan. Tonari's golden wheel reincarnation explosion could even split the moon in two. I should be thankful that the Hyuga clan hasn't developed the caged bird seal in this era. Otherwise I would never have been able to obtain so many Byakugan, Uzumaki's Hauxun sighed. This was a great stroke of luck for him. He had to obtain as many Byakugan as possible before the caged bird seal was invented, to prepare for the fusion of the Tenseigan. In fact, he sometimes wondered if the Hyuga clan's caged bird seal system was something he had created by gouging out their eyes. Speaking of which, I've already exhausted the nickname Black Zetsu. Both the Uchiha and Hyuga clans hate him to the core. If the original plot continues, I wonder what Madara's reaction will be when the elderly Madara creates Black Zetsu using yin-yang release in the dark underground. Thinking of this, Uzumaki's Hauxun worried about Black Zetsu, fearing that Black Zetsu would never have the chance to speak his heart to Madara. On the table, two shadow clones were focused on conducting a fusion experiment, completely undistracted by Uzumaki's Hauxun's arrival. The shadow clone on the left was analyzing a single Tomo Sharingan. He immersed the Sharingan in a special solution, carefully extracting its ocular energy using medical ninjutsu, and then fusing the extracted energy with another three-tomo Sharingan in the solution. This was an extremely delicate craft. The shadow clone proceeded with utmost caution and slowness throughout the entire process. A single misstep could destroy both Sharingan. After more than an hour, the single Tomo Sharingan finally fused with a three-tomo Sharingan. With the aid of Kagura's mind's eye, Uzumaki's Hauxun could clearly sense that the ocular energy emitted by the fused three-tomo Sharingan was stronger than before. After so many failures, the experiment is finally on track. Uzumaki's Hauxun breathed a sigh of relief. Fusing Sharingan was a wildly imaginative idea of his own. He wanted Sharingan, that was true, but he didn't want ordinary Tomo Sharingan. He wanted the Mangekyou Sharingan, or even the ultimate form, the Rinnegan. The ideal was lofty, but reality was harsh. There were simply no Mangekyou Sharingan available for him to extract on the battlefield. Currently, only the Uchiha clan leader, Uchiha Tajima, had awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan. Even Madara and Izuna only possessed three Tomo. After 4 years on the battlefield, Uzumaki's Hauxun extracted over 200 Sharingan, only 6 of which were three Tomo. 1 was transplanted into his left eye, and the remaining 5 were used for experimental research, with 3 destroyed in the process. During one of his Sharingan studies, Uzumaki's Hauxun accidentally fused 2 single Tomo Sharingan, unexpectedly discovering that the fused Sharingan's ocular energy was enhanced. From that moment on, Uzumaki's Hauxun opened a new world, devoting all his energy to experimenting with eye fusion. After a full year and a half of failures and improvements, during which hundreds of Sharingan and Byakugan were destroyed, he finally mastered the technique of eye fusion. The 2 shadow clones before him possessed his memories and experience, so their fusion of eyes was no different from Uzumaki Shōsō's personal operation. Moreover, the shadow clones wouldn't betray him, so Uzumaki Shōsō trusted them completely. Uzumaki Shōsō's decision to fuse eyes was actually out of necessity. Since he couldn't obtain the Rinnegan and Tenseigan through conventional means, he had to find another way. He didn't know what would happen if he fused a large number of Sharingan eyes, but so far, the power of the fused Sharingan had indeed increased. This was a tangible benefit. So far, the 3 Tomo Sharingan soaking in the solution had fused with 4 double Tomo Sharingan eyes and 9 single Tomo Sharingan eyes. Uzumaki Shōsō estimated that even Madara Uchiha's 3 Tomo Sharingan eye power might not be comparable to this eye. After quietly watching the 2 shadow clones operate the experiment for a while, Uzumaki Shōsō also felt a little itchy. He put on sterile gloves and took out a Byakugan and a double Tomo Sharingan from 2 test tubes. Today, He was going to conduct a very bold and innovative research. This idea had always been in his mind, but he had previously felt that the experimental materials were scarce and insufficient to support multiple studies. However, tonight he had returned from the battlefield with a full harvest, making minor losses acceptable. Uzumaki Shōsō placed both eyes into a special solution and used medical ninjutsu. A hazy green light covered his palm as he patiently and meticulously extracted the ocular energy contained within the Byakugan, guiding it to fuse with a two-tomo Sharingan. That's right, this was Uzumaki Shōsō's bold innovation. Since fusing Sharingan with Sharingan and Byakugan with Byakugan enhances ocular power, what kind of wondrous sparks would the fusion of Sharingan and Byakugan create? Could two different types of eyes fuse into a completely new type of eye? Uzumaki Shōsō held his breath, carefully beginning the fusion process. Chapter 5, Left hand lifts up the earth exploding star, right hand swings out the golden wheel reincarnation explosion. Time flowed slowly. Uzumaki Shōsō was completely absorbed in his experiment, oblivious to everything around him. While his two shadow clones had already fused 3 or 4 pairs of eyes, he continued his methodical fusion process. After all, this was his first time conducting this experiment, and he dared not be greedy or rush things. The Sharingan and Byakugan were hard-won, their value immeasurable. Any losses that could be avoided must be minimized. After an unknown amount of time, the night faded, and a ray of dawn shone upon the earth. Success! In the laboratory, Uzumaki Shōsō exclaimed, his excitement barely concealed. After a night of dedicated work, he had successfully integrated the Byakugan's ocular energy into the Sharingan, a significant breakthrough in his research on eyes. In the solution, the fused eye displayed a bizarre interplay of red, white, and black, resembling the eye of a cursed demon. I wonder what kind of eye technique this is? Hypnosis? X-ray vision? Izanagi? Uzumaki Shōsō picked up the eye, using Kagura's mind's eye to sense the eye technique energy emanating from it, intending to transplant it onto himself to test it. But just then, not good, Uzumaki Shōsō suddenly sensed the eye technique energy within the eye surging and chaotic, a violent fluctuation emanating from it, about to explode. Screw you, Uzumaki Shōsō swiftly struck the eye with 2 4-symbol seals, instantly stacking them into an 8-trigram seal, suppressing the chaotic eye technique energy. Still not satisfied, he cast 4 more sealing techniques until the eye technique energy was completely calm. This path is blocked, Uzumaki Shōsō felt deeply regretful. He thought he had created a completely new type of eye, but it turned out to be just a false alarm. The repulsive force between the Byakugan's eye technique energy and the Sharingan's eye technique energy was too great. Even if the two were temporarily fused together, they could not maintain stability for long and would inevitably collapse and explode. Uzumaki Shōsō could sense that if the ocular energy contained in this eye were to explode, its power would be roughly equivalent to 2 explosive tags. Is there any gentle medium that can balance the ocular powers of the two eyes, preventing them from repelling each other? Uzumaki Shōsō pondered, and after a moment, a brilliant idea struck him. If we're talking about gentle attributes, wood release is definitely the best. I can try getting some Hashirama cells. Due to his sage body, Hashirama cells were considered a panacea in the original story, not only enabling Madara to awaken the Rinnegan but also cultivating the White Zetsu army. If Hashirama cells were used as a medium, it might truly allow the Byakugan and Sharingan to perfectly fuse. This is a headache. Hashirama is such a powerful overpowered character, how am I supposed to obtain his cells? Uzumaki Shōsō was troubled, feeling that obtaining Hashirama cells would be even more difficult than extracting the Sharingan. Perhaps he could only slowly find opportunities on the battlefield in the future, secretly collecting parts of his body tissue. After spending some more time in the lab, Uzumaki Shōsō glanced at the clock on the wall, thinking it was about time to return to his clan's territory. His father was holding an elders meeting today, and being late would definitely be disastrous. He left 2 shadow clones to continue fusing the Sharingan and Byakugan, while he used earth release to leave. This experimental base was built 1,000 meters underground, with no direct access except for a few ventilation shafts. It could only be reached using earth release, making it incredibly secure and secretive. If Uzumaki Shōsō hadn't exposed himself, it would have been virtually impossible for an ordinary person to find it. During his earth release, Uzumaki Shōsō kept his Byakugan activated to scout the surface and avoid detection. In the courtyard of a mansion, the ground suddenly rippled like water, and Uzumaki Shōsō popped his head out. He had already used his Byakugan to check the situation beforehand, so he simply and openly crawled out of the ground and used a sealing technique to seal the power of his eyes. The Uzumaki clan is renowned throughout the ninja world for its mastery of sealing techniques. Influenced by this, Uzumaki's Hakusen has mastered all the various sealing techniques within the clan. After his Sharingan and Byakugan's powers are sealed, they instantly revert to normal eyes, like light bulbs without power. Uzumaki's Hakusen must seal his own powers. His transplantation of the Sharingan and Byakugan must never be revealed to outsiders. Otherwise, not only will he suffer a heavy blow from both the major clans, but the entire Uzumaki clan will also be implicated. There's still some time before the elders' meeting. I'll go take a bath first. Uzumaki's Hakusen headed towards the mansion's bathroom. He had spent the previous night on the battlefield between the Uchiha and Hyuga clans, and a faint smell of blood lingered on him. However, he wasn't worried about being seen as abnormal, as he was currently alone at home. His family consisted of 3 members: his father, Uzumaki Ryu, the clan head, a workaholic who spent his days in the clan headquarters handling clan affairs, discussing with the elders which ninja clan to fight the next day and which to fight the day after. He was rarely home. Mito Uzumaki, the older sister, is 18 years old and a recognized elite jonin within the clan. She has awakened the bloodline limit, adamantine sealing gate, and is renowned alongside geniuses like Hashirama Senju, Madara Uchiha, Tenin Hyuga, Sasuke Sarutobi, Yachi Kirama, and Musashi Kaguya. She possesses both beauty and strength, enjoying a high reputation among the various ninja clans. Since the Uzumaki clan ceased its war with the Kaguya clan half a month ago, Mito has been tending to the wounded at the hospital, and Hakusen hasn't seen her for some time. The last family member is her younger brother, Ashina Uzumaki, 13 years old. He passed the Uzumaki clan's Jonin exam last year and is also a very talented individual. 2 days ago, as Hakusen's instigation, Ashina presented a grand plan for the clan's development to Ryu Uzumaki, and was subsequently locked up in the clan head's building by their father and hasn't returned. My sister and brother are both geniuses. It puts a lot of pressure on me, Hakusen chuckled wryly, taking off his clothes to reveal his fair and muscular body, a strong waist, and clearly defined 8-pack abs. Then came the sound of rushing water, and he began to bathe. Unlike his sister and brother, Whirlpool didn't flaunt his abilities. For years, he had maintained a low profile. In the eyes of his clan, he was just a 16-year-old special chunin. Neither a genius nor a failure, just an ordinary person. This was a necessary concealment. He had committed so many disgraceful acts on the battlefield under the name Black Zetsu, his true identity couldn't be revealed. Otherwise, he might slip up. The less attention he received, the better. Perhaps he would wait until he fused the Sharingan in the lab into the Rinnegan and the Byakugan into the Tenseigan. With the Rinnegan in his left eye and the Tensei in his right, and could wield the Chibaku Tensei with his left hand and the Golden Wheel Tensei Blast with his right, then he would be fearless when he revealed his identity. Chapter 6, With a wife like that, I could sleep with her too. Good morning, young Master Jojuan. Greetings, young Master Jojuan. Walking through the clan grounds in the morning light, the clansmen he encountered along the way bowed and greeted him. Jojuan smiled and responded to each one. Several Uzumaki girls felt their hearts quicken when they saw his handsome face. During the Warring States period, all the ninja clans were very feudal, with a clear hierarchy. The Hyuga clan was the most rigid, with its main branch system considered cruel even by outsiders. While the Uzumaki clan wasn't as cold-hearted as the Hyuga, there were still class distinctions. Jojuan's status as the son of the clan had destined him to be superior, and even though he was just an ordinary special chunin, he was still respected and treated with courtesy by his clansmen. Young Master Jojuan is so handsome. No one in the clan is more handsome than him, yes, and young Master Jojuan has a very good temper. I've never seen him get angry with anyone. After Jojuan disappeared into the distance, several Uzumaki girls talked about him behind his back. The girls were excited, their eyes sparkling. During the Warring States period, the average lifespan was 30 years, leading to many people marrying and having children early. In the eyes of the Uzumaki girls, young Master Jojuan was undoubtedly a very good marriage prospect. The only pity is that young Master Jojuan isn't as talented as his sister and brother. His ninja aptitude is the same as most ordinary people. What does it matter if he's not a genius? After all, we're not geniuses either. Along the way, All Jojuan saw were dilapidated wooden huts and thatched houses, a stark contrast to the clan chief's mansion where he lived. The roads were muddy and full of potholes, and many children in the clan didn't even have clothes to wear, playing and laughing naked. Years of war had left the Uzumaki clan extremely poor, often starving. Winters were even worse, with a biting wind and hunger making them resemble an uncivilized primitive tribe. This situation wasn't unique to the Uzumaki clan. Most other ninja clans were in the same predicament, some even worse. This was normal. If everyone had enough to eat and wear, there wouldn't have been such a chaotic warring states period. The current state of the Uzumaki clan needs to change, Uzumaki's Hakusun thought silently. 2 days ago, he had his younger brother, Ashina, present his father with a grand plan for the clan's development. The Uzumaki clan was currently enjoying a rare period of peace, a perfect opportunity for them to thrive and multiply. Hakusun, at that moment, a clear, crisp voice rang out. Uzumaki's Hakusun looked up and saw a red-haired girl standing before him, smiling sweetly. The girl had bright eyes and white teeth, long, shapely legs, and fair skin that shone like ivory in the sunlight. She was as beautiful as an elf. Sister, Uzumaki's Hakusun chuckled and quickly walked towards the girl. I thought you'd sleep in, so I came to wake you up. I didn't expect you to be up so early, Mito said, reaching out to rub her younger brother's head, somewhat surprised. You seem to have grown taller again. Is it really that exaggerated? Jojuan touched his nose. You've only been in the hospital for half a month. Yes, you really have grown taller. Boys grow so fast. Looking at her brother, who was half a head taller than her, Mito couldn't help but sigh. She felt that boys in puberty were like bamboo shoots after the rain, and she could almost hear the sound of his bones growing taller. Just 2 years ago, she was definitely taller than him. Sis, are there not many wounded people in the hospital now? The environment there isn't good. Don't stay in the hospital all the time. It's not as busy as it was before, but I still need to keep an eye on the wounded people's post-operative recovery. Once the observation period is over, I can go home. Mito took Jojuan's arm, and the two siblings talked as they walked towards the clan head's building, appearing very close and affectionate. Jojuan's mother passed away shortly after giving birth to Ashina. At that time, Ryu was busy with clan affairs and had no time to care for his 3 young children. Mito was only 5 years old then, showing even more maturity than Jojuan, who had transmigrated from another world. She acted as both an older sister and a mother, meticulously caring for her 2 younger brothers. When Jojuan was 5, the Uzumaki clan faced extinction. Even as the clan leader's son and a young child, he was sent to the battlefield. At that time, he wasn't even a Jonin. Fortunately, Mito protected him closely on the battlefield, allowing him to survive unharmed. Ultimately, the Uzumaki clan successfully survived the crisis. After that war, Jojuan secretly resolved to protect his sister and never let anyone harm her. However, as the days passed, Mito gradually revealed her astonishing talent, a Chunin at 6, a Jonin at 8, and at 10, she awakened the bloodline limit, the adamantine sealing technique, instantly becoming an elite Jonin. Jojuan was utterly stunned. My sister. Did you activate the female lead template? What kind of cheat code? Share some with me. Jojuan suddenly understood why Hashirama in the original work was able to quell the chaos. With a wife like that, I could do it too. In the end, Jojuan reluctantly accepted reality, changing his decision from protecting his sister to clinging to her coattails. In fact, Mito didn't need protection. Even after the Land of Whirlpools was destroyed in the original work, she was still alive and well, a true protagonist's halo. An hour later, in the council hall of the clan head's building, Uzumaki Ryu, Uzumaki Mito, Uzumaki Jojuan, Uzumaki Ashina, and 13 high-ranking elders of the Uzumaki clan sat around the long table, about to begin the meeting. The Uzumaki Grand Elder was an old man with a goatee. It was rare for someone to live to his age in the Warring States period, which also spoke volumes about his strength. He glanced at Uzumaki Ashina sitting next to Ryu, feeling quite surprised. Ashina had never sat in this position during previous elder meetings. Could it be that Ryu is going to establish the successor to the next clan head, he guessed. The position of clan chief of the Uzumaki clan has always been passed down through generations. The most renowned and capable son of the current chief is chosen to succeed him, while the other sons who are not chosen become the high-ranking pillars of the clan. The Uzumaki Grand Elder is Long's second uncle. Jojuan and Mito both have to call him Grand Uncle. He is currently the most senior member of the clan. Frankly speaking, the Uzumaki Grand Elder doesn't want Long to designate Ashina as his successor. Although Ashina is also a genius, he is only 13 years old. His mind is not fully developed, and in terms of reputation and military achievements, he is far inferior to his sister, Uzumaki Mito. Making Miro the successor would be the best option. As for Long's second son, Jojuan, a mediocre person, he shouldn't even think about the position of clan chief. It's not his turn at all. Long, are you holding this meeting today to determine the next clan chief? The Grand Elder asked. The other elders also looked curious. Long hadn't informed them of the meeting's content beforehand. No, Long shook his head. The day before yesterday, Ashina gave me a suggestion on the future development direction of the family, and I would like you all to hear it. Chapter 7, is that still a village? That's a country. The future direction of the clan. The elders were all surprised and doubtful upon hearing this. Even Mito was astonished. Although Ashina became a Jonin at the age of 12 and was known as a genius of the Uzumaki clan, what effective suggestions could a 13-year-old child offer? The elders were skeptical. Ashina, repeat your suggestion to everyone again, Uzumaki Ryu said. Yes. Ashina was a little nervous and subconsciously looked at his second brother. After receiving an encouraging look from Jojuan, he took a deep breath. As we all know, the Land of Fire is currently divided among warlords and plagued by war. The Uchiha, Hyuga, Senju, Sarutobi, Kaguya, Kurama, Inuzuka, Aburame, Shimura, Yamanaka, Nara, Akimichi, and many other large and small ninja clans are all waging war. Some ninja clans are fighting because of resource shortages, while others harbor ambitions to dominate the Land of Fire. Our Uzumaki clan does not want to dominate the Land of Fire, we only want our clansmen to live a good life. The elders nodded slowly. The Uzumaki clan indeed had no ambition, but war was not their choice. Many times they longed for peace, but other ninja clans wouldn't allow it. Years of war had forged a deep-seated enmity between the Uzumaki and some other clans. Ashina continued, if the war continues, our Uzumaki clan will not only betray our original intentions and fail to provide a good life for our people, but we will also cause more and more of our clansmen to lose their lives. We originally had thousands of people, a truly great clan, but after these years of fighting, less than 1,000 remain. There's no way around it, the elder shook his head. War isn't something we can just stop at will. Other ninja clans are attacking us, we must fight back. Yes, we must fight back, Ashina said, but it can't be a simple fight. The elder frowned, puzzled, not understanding what this young man meant. Individual strength is ultimately limited. We need to strengthen our forces. If we rely solely on the Uzumaki clan to fight on the battlefield, we simply can't defeat the many ninja clans in the Land of Fire who are hostile to us. You mean an alliance? The second elder interrupted, vaguely understanding what Ashina was trying to say. But haven't we already formed an alliance with the Senju clan? It's more than just an alliance, Ashina denied. Glancing at his second brother out of the corner of his eye, he gritted his teeth and slammed his hand on the table. We're going to build a village. This slam startled everyone. The first elder said quietly, our Uzumaki clan territory is already a village with over 900 people. What's the point of building another village? Ashina replied, we're going to build a large village that's not just for the Uzumaki clan. We're going to bring all the common people of the Land of Fire into our village. Upon hearing this, the elders' expressions became suspicious and strange. They vaguely felt that something was amiss and frowned and thought. If you bring all the ordinary people into a village, is it still a village? That's a country. Simply forming an alliance with the Senju clan isn't enough. Ashina gathered his thoughts and continued, sometimes the Senju clan can't even protect themselves, and other ninja clans are too proud for us to recruit. Even if we could, they certainly wouldn't be content to be subordinate to us and would rebel. Recruiting civilians doesn't carry that risk. Years of war have made even a large clan like ours suffer, let alone the common people. The Land of Fire is filled with devastation and widespread suffering. If we simply spread the word that our Uzumaki clan is willing to provide shelter for displaced people and that we can work together to build a new home, a large number of civilians will flock to us. Don't doubt that. Don't think that civilians are weak and useless. In times of war, population is the most valuable resource. Little by little, we can build a mountain. With a large population, we can vigorously develop and construct, cultivate wasteland, build an army, engage in trade, and collect taxes. In short, the benefits are countless. Upon hearing this, several elders began to breathe rapidly. their hearts pounding in their chests, their blood boiling. The future envisioned by Ashina was simply too tempting, seemingly within their grasp. Building an army, collecting taxes, that was a nation. If it really came to that, wouldn't all of us Uzumaki clan members become royalty? Hiss, the first elder gasped, instantly losing his composure. Ashina continued, 1 commoner is weak, 10 commoners are weak, but if an army is formed from 1,000 or 10,000 commoners, no ninja clan would dare underestimate us, and no ninja clan would dare attack or offend us. Father, eldest sister, second brother, elders, just imagine, if we really built such a large village, who would we fear? At that time, we would not only become the overlords of the ninja clans, but also lead all our people to prosperous life. Well said, one elder couldn't help but shout excitedly. This is the right direction for our Uzumaki clan's future development. Ashina, your suggestion is excellent and highly feasible. Once such a village is built, we will be invincible, fearless of any enemy. The elders echoed their sentiments, excitedly, with no one expressing any further opposition or doubt. Ashina, I never expected you to come up with such an idea. You're amazing. Mito praised him generously, surprised that her younger brother had brought her such a wonderful surprise at this elders meeting. Ashina, feeling a little embarrassed by his sister's praise, scratched the back of his head shyly. Silence, Uzumaki Ryu suddenly spoke, silencing the commotion. I have a question. He stared at Ashina and said, our Uzumaki clan doesn't have much food reserves right now. If we really spread the word and provide shelter to all the displaced civilians, what will we give those who come to seek refuge? This question silenced the elders. Some pondered, while others hesitated to speak. Everyone had to admit that this was a very thorny problem. Since ancient times, food has been the most important thing for people. The Uzumaki clan itself was struggling to feed themselves, so how could they afford to support refugees? If they couldn't support refugees, wouldn't their statements be nothing but empty words? Sell the iron mine, Ashina said. We just seized an iron mine from the Kaguya clan. If we sell it to the daimyo of the Land of Fire, he'll definitely be willing to buy it. Ashina didn't actually know why the daimyo of the Land of Fire would definitely be willing to buy it. Anyway, his second brother told him so, and he told his father the same thing. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. It's not that I'm useless, it's that I'm afraid I'll become too great. Will they really be willing to buy it? The elders pondered. They understood Ashina's meaning. If the Fire Country daimyo didn't buy it, they could sell it to the other 4 great nations, such as the Wind Country and the Lightning Country. The Fire Country daimyo certainly wouldn't allow his country's mineral resources to flow to foreign countries. We lost over 100 clansmen in the struggle with the Kaguya clan for that iron mine, said Uzumaki Ryu. The iron mine is extremely important to our strategy. We need it to forge weapons. If we sell the iron mine, where will we get our weapons and armor for the next war? Jojuan had already addressed this question to Ashina beforehand. He calmly replied, Father, we must have the courage to sell the iron mine. We just need to get through the initial period of village construction, and the situation will improve within a year. Once the iron mine is sold, we won't be fighting for a while and can focus on development and construction. With so many people, we don't need to worry about other ninja clans attacking us. As the saying goes, store up grain, build high walls, and delay declaring yourself king. As soon as he finished speaking, Uzumaki Ryu's eyes suddenly lit up. The elders clapped and cheered. What a brilliant store up grain, build high walls, and delay declaring kingship. Ashina, you've said it perfectly. I never imagined that Ashina, at such a young age, could have such profound insights. His intelligence puts this old man to shame. I've truly witnessed what a real genius is. If Ashina had been born 10 years earlier, how could our Uzumaki clan be in such a difficult situation? The elders sighed repeatedly, no longer daring to underestimate Ashina because of his age, regarding him as a genius for governing the world. Just an hour ago, the elder thought that the position of clan leader should be inherited by Mito, but now he felt that the next clan leader was none other than Ashina, who could lead the Uzumaki clan to unprecedented heights. Did you come up with all these ideas yourself? Uzumaki Ryu suddenly asked. Ashina's scalp tightened, and he didn't dare to look at his second brother anymore, gritting his teeth and saying, yes, I came up with them all by myself." Upon hearing this, the elders were once again amazed and full of praise. Mito and Jojuan exchanged a joyful glance, genuinely happy for their younger brother's resourcefulness. "Father, now that the war has ceased, it's the perfect time for us to build our village," Ashina said. "Otherwise, if war breaks out again someday, the difficulty of building our village will increase significantly." Uzumaki Ryu nodded, then casually glanced at his second son, Jojuan. "What do you think of Ashina's suggestion?" Without hesitation, Jojuan respectfully replied, "I think my brother makes a lot of sense. Now is indeed the best time to build the village." Uzumaki Ryu's gaze lingered on his face for a moment, then turned to the crowd. "What do you elders think?" "We think it's perfectly fine. There's no time like the present. We should start implementing it today and spread the news of the village's construction. Building the village concerns the fate of the Uzumaki clan for the next 100 years. It's of paramount importance and should be designated as the clan's highest level strategy." The elders all echoed his sentiments, eager to begin, with no one raising any objections. Jojuan wasn't surprised by this outcome, because even without his intervention, the Uzumaki clan in the original story would eventually establish a village, or even a country. He had merely accelerated this outcome, ending the Uzumaki clan's days of suffering sooner. "Alright, we'll announce this news to the clansmen later," Uzumaki Dragon immediately decided. In fact, when Ashina told him about the village building proposal the day before, he had thought it over and over again, thoroughly understanding the pros and cons. The more he thought about it, the more he felt it was worthwhile. Today's elders meeting was just a formality. He had already made up his mind that even if all the elders opposed it, he would go against their wishes and proceed. "Everyone, go and gather the clansmen now." "Jojuan, you stay," Uzumaki Dragon said. Hearing his father leave him behind, Jojuan felt a sudden pang of unease, a sense of guilt creeping in. The elders, no longer lingering, rose and left hastily to carry out the village building project. Mito and Ashina both glanced at Jojuan with concern. Mito worried his younger brother would be scolded, while Ashina worried their father had discovered his older brother's secret. A moment later, only the father and son remained in the meeting hall. "Do you know why I left you alone?" Uzumaki Ryu asked coldly, his tone more like interrogating a criminal than speaking to his son. Jojuan, lacking confidence, stubbornly replied, "I don't know, HMPH." Uzumaki Ryu snorted angrily, suddenly appearing before Jojuan and pressing his hand against his chest. Jojuan was startled and quickly used his teleportation technique to barely dodge his father's attack. Uzumaki Ryu flicked his wrist, and a Vajra chain shot out from his sleeve, striking Jojuan and knocking him to the ground. "Father, what have I done to upset you again?" Jojuan cried, grimacing as he struggled to his feet. "You good for nothing." Uzumaki Dragon was exasperated. His brief exchange had given him a clear understanding of his son's strength. "So much time has passed and you're still only a special chunin. You haven't been proved at all." Special chunin refers to chunin or higher, but not quite a chunin. "I've been training hard, but I don't have my sister's and brother's talent. I'm helpless," Jojuan muttered in defense. "You still have the nerve to say that?" Uzumaki Dragon was even angrier. "Your sister became a jonin at 8, your brother at 12, and proposed the village building plan at 13. You're 16 and still just a special chunin. If word gets out, it'll be a disgrace to our whole family." Jojuan had plenty of experience being scolded and knew he couldn't talk back at a time like this. So he obediently lowered his head, standing ready to take the beating, letting his father vent his anger. Sure enough, after a few minutes of scolding, Uzumaki Ryu gradually calmed down and said coldly, "The village construction is entirely your responsibility, along with Ashina's. Learn from your brother. My son, Uzumaki Ryu's son, is not to be useless." "Yes, sir." Jojuan reluctantly accepted the order. He had no room to disobey his father. "Get out." The moment he got out of the meeting hall, Jojuan breathed a sigh of relief. He had thought his father had kept him behind because he had seen through his scheme, but it turned out he was just being scolded, causing him unnecessary anxiety. "Father, I'm not useless, I'm just afraid that if I become too great, I'll scare you," Jojuan thought to himself. All those Sharingan and Byakugan in his lab would one day ignite the entire ninja world. Have I neglected Jojuan? In the empty meeting hall, Uzumaki Ryu sighed wistfully. He admitted that he might be a good clan leader, but definitely not a good father. Over the years, he had lacked communication with his children and preferred to express his concern through beatings and scoldings. The reason why the second son is so mediocre is largely due to him. Chapter 9 Whirlpool Pot King. No sooner had Zhou Xuan stepped out of the clan head's building than he saw Lu Ming sneaking over. Second brother, does Dad know everything? I knew Dad was so wise, we couldn't hide anything from him. What nonsense are you talking about? Zhou Xuan grabbed his brother's shoulder, interrupting him. Dad, eldest sister, and the elders know nothing. Don't give me away, Lu Ming said bitterly. Second brother, I really don't understand why you insisted on having me tell Dad about the village's founding. Couldn't you have told Dad yourself? It's perfect timing. Dad has always thought you're useless, and many clansmen think you're not capable either. This opportunity will definitely shut them up and spread your genius reputation. Genius my foot. Keep your voice down. Zhou Xuan flicked his brother's head, glanced around, and pulled Lu Ming to a secluded spot. Second brother, I don't care. If you don't give me a convincing reason this time, I'll definitely report you to Dad, Lu Ming said resolutely. How many times have I taken the blame for you these past few years? You were the one who developed Chidori, Rasengan, and multiple shadow clone technique, yet you always try to pin it on me. Ashina complained bitterly whenever the topic of taking the blame came up. Only he knew his second brother was a genius. Several years ago, every time his brother developed a new ninjutsu, he would force-feed him the scroll, coercing and bribing him to pretend he'd stumbled upon it in the clan's ninjutsu archives and hand it over to the clan. Because of this, Ashina not only earned the title of genius within the clan but also the nickname the Chosen One. Furthermore, the ninjutsu his brother developed were truly powerful. The Uzumaki clan's repeated victories on the battlefield over the years owed much to those techniques, yet the clan members were completely unaware of this and always thought his brother was mediocre. Zhou Xuan was amused and annoyed, then flicked Ashina's forehead again. What do you mean by taking the blame? Can't you speak properly? I was clearly giving you credit. Ashina rubbed his forehead, looking aggrieved. It wasn't me who did it, but you're blaming it on me. What else is it but taking the blame? If this keeps up, I'll have to change my name to Whirlpool Pot King. Zhou Xuan wasn't happy to hear that. Is it so hard to help me with something? Ashina said. If it's something else you need help with, second brother, I'll do anything, but I'm not taking the blame anymore. I deserved to be fooled by you before because I was ignorant, but now I have my own opinions. Zhou Xuan, my stupid little brother seems to have grown up. He can even talk about having his own opinions now? What Zhou Xuan didn't know was that in recent years, Ashina had often heard the clansmen talking about him, both openly and secretly. The clansmen all believed that the next clan leader would either be him or the eldest sister, Mito, but definitely not his mediocre second brother. Ashina was deeply resentful and felt he had stolen his second brother's reputation as a genius. His brother was clearly a peerless prodigy who had developed ninjutsu, saving countless lives on the battlefield. If the clansmen knew even a little about his abilities, they wouldn't have said such things. Although he had enjoyed the praise from his eldest sister and elders at the meeting, he knew in his heart that the honor didn't belong to him, but to his second brother. He couldn't steal his brother's honor anymore. Sigh. Zhou Xuan was silent for a moment, then suddenly sighed deeply. This sigh made Ashina feel even worse. Since you've said that, then your second brother won't hide it from you anymore, Zhou Xuan said. Haven't you always wanted to know why I made you take the blame? I'll tell you the reason today. Ashina's eyes widened, his anticipation instantly heightened, desperately wanting to know why he was being blamed. Because I'm afraid of dying. Afraid of dying? Ashina was confused. Yes, Zhou Xuan said leisurely, as if revealing everything. Although I'm a bit clever and can develop ninjutsu like the Rasengan and come up with a village building plan, my strength is ultimately my Achilles heel. My second brother is 16 this year, but he's still a chunin, and the worst part is, he's a special chunin. Do you know how heartbroken and upset my second brother is? Second brother, Ashina felt a pang of pity for his brother. My second brother also wants to become stronger. He also wants to become a Jonin at 12 like you, but he can't do it. Zhou Xuan feigned sadness, looking at his younger brother's even more sorrowful eyes, and almost blurted out, my second brother went to the battlefield at 12 and had to gouge out eyes and fight against cage-level powerhouses. Ashina, imagine if a genius appeared in our Uzumaki's mortal enemy, the Kaguya clan, who developed many powerful ninjutsu and came up with an idea that could forever suppress our Uzumaki clan. What would you do? Of course, I'd kill him, Ashina replied without hesitation. That makes perfect sense, Zhou Xuan said. If the Kaguya clan knew how much I've done for our clan, they would definitely spare no effort to kill me on the battlefield. I'm just a special chunin. They could easily kill me with any chunin they send, but you're different. You're a jonin now, very strong. You always fight alongside the clan's jonin. The Kaguya clan can't target you on the battlefield." Hearing this, Ashina suddenly understood. So he really had taken the blame for his second brother. "Second brother, I'm ashamed. As your older brother, I should have protected you, but because I'm weak and cowardly, I had to use you as a shield. Fine, since you're so reluctant to take the blame, I'll go and confess to father now. I'll say that the village building plan was my idea, and I developed those ninjutsu. If the Kaguya clan wants to kill me, let them come." With that, Jojuan strode towards the clan head's building. "Wait," Ashina reacted and quickly grabbed Jojuan. "Second brother, please don't confess. I didn't object. I'll take the blame for you. No, even if I, Jojuan, die on the battlefield, I will never let my brother take the blame for me again," Jojuan said righteously, struggling fiercely. "Second brother, please don't do this." Lu Ming was almost crying. "I was foolish and ignorant. I thought second brother was just giving me credit. I didn't know there was such a hidden story. Second brother, don't worry, although you are weak, I will definitely protect you every step of the way on the battlefield, and I will never let any enemy hurt you," Jojuan said with shame. "But you are all grown up now. I can't forgive myself for using you as a shield anymore, second brother." "What are you saying? We are brothers." Lu Ming jumped up and down anxiously. "If second brother doesn't let me take the blame, I will never forgive myself." Chapter 10 Where the waves surge, the whirlpools also endlessly arise. In the end, Jojuan couldn't resist his younger brother's strong determination to take the blame and had no choice but to give in and not confess to their father. Ashina no longer felt he had stolen his second brother's credit. Instead, he felt a glorious sense of mission to protect him. He decided to keep his secret of taking the blame deep in his heart. Only heaven, earth, himself, and his second brother knew, and he wouldn't reveal it to even their father or eldest sister. "Second brother, although you are weak, don't worry. As long as I, Uzumaki Ashina, live, no enemy can harm you." A seed of protecting his second brother was planted in Ashina's young heart, and the seed had already shown the potential to grow into a towering tree. Jojuan felt only relief at this outcome. Thankfully, it was his younger brother. If it were his shrewd and capable older sister, he certainly wouldn't have been able to fool her. "Ashina, forgive me, this is the last few times," Jojuan thought silently. As his younger brother grew older, he became increasingly difficult to deceive. Each time he could deceive him was one less opportunity he could have. He had no choice. For the sake of the eye-melting plan, he had to remain low-key and hide himself well. Hopefully, the Rinnegan and Tenseigan can be developed soon. He's put in so much effort, if it all comes to nothing, he'll be furious. The Grand Elder and the others acted quickly, gathering all the Uzumaki clan members in less than half an hour at the clan head's building. 900-odd Uzumaki clan members weren't many, they were scattered and rather desolate. Uzumaki Ryu stood on the rooftop, solemnly announcing the village's establishment to the clan members and frankly explaining the implications. This plan was proposed by Ashina. Uzumaki Ryu was fair in rewarding and punishing, not hiding his youngest son's merits from the clan members. After discussing with the elders, we unanimously believe that building a village is the only way for our Uzumaki clan to rise again. War is endless. It will only cause our clansmen to lose more and more lives. We have suffered enough from war over the past few years. Reform is necessary. Support the clan leader. Support the reform. Support building the village. Compared to fighting, what's wrong with integrating with the common people? We just want to live a peaceful life. We don't want to be on the edge of a knife every day. Young Master Ashina is so wise. He has come up with such a brilliant plan. After recruiting the common people, let them protect the peace of the village with us. Support building the village. Strongly support it, the clansmen roared like a tidal wave, almost all agreeing with the proposal to build the village. A few dissenting clansmen dared not oppose it in such a fervent atmosphere and remained silent. It's an inevitable trend, there's no suspense, Jojuan thought to himself in the crowd. He understood the clansmen's desire for peace. Only those who had experienced the suffering of war could truly understand the preciousness of peace. If it were a clan like the Uchiha or Hyuga, proud to the core, they would never choose to integrate with the common people. Compared to them, we Uzumaki clan members are incredibly down to earth. Can pride really be a matter of life and death? Thinking of this, Jojuan felt a bit disdainful of those two clans. Of course, he only disdained their arrogant mentality. He didn't think much of their character. The strategic direction for building the village had been decided, and Uzumaki Rai then discussed with his clansmen what to name the new village. The new village would be integrated with the common people, so it certainly couldn't be called Uzumaki Clan Land anymore. How about calling it Whirlpool Village? Amidst the noisy voices of the clansmen, the elder suddenly suggested. It symbolizes that our Uzumaki clan is as surging as a tidal wave. Wherever the waves sweep, the whirlpools also thrive. That's a good name, both pleasant to hear and auspicious. I also think that's a good name. Listening to the clansman's enthusiastic praise, Jojuan was speechless, a string of complaints stuck in his throat. He didn't understand what was so good about Whirlpool Village. Whirlpool, Whirlpool, if you pronounced it quickly, people might think it was Wuchao Village, a vulgar expression. If everyone has no objections, then it's settled. The newly built village will be called Whirlpool Village. Whirlpool Dragon made the final decision. In his view, the name was just a trivial matter, and there was no need to waste time on it. The construction of the village was what they were really focused on. This day was destined to be unforgettable for all Whirlpool clan members. The fate of the entire clan would be completely changed from this day forward. Big sister, second brother, from now on we are Whirlpool Village people, Ashina excitedly told Jojuan and Mito. I have a feeling that our Whirlpool clan will definitely get better and better. I think so too. Mito smoothed a strand of hair from her forehead and said with a smile, we must believe in the future. A peaceful and happy life awaits us ahead. Get better and better. A barely perceptible strange light flashed in Jojuan's eyes. He knew very well that in the original story, Uzushio Village perished shortly after its founding, leaving Nagato, Karin, Kushina, and other descendants of the Uzumaki clan in exile. As a member of the Uzumaki clan, he naturally couldn't allow the tragedy of the original story to repeat itself in reality. He wanted to lead the Uzumaki clan to true glory. That very night, with Uzumaki Rai arranging for his clansmen to spread the news far and wide, the news of the Uzumaki clan establishing Uzushio Village spread like wildfire, causing a sensation throughout the Land of Fire. The Uzumaki clan is going to provide shelter for all the civilians displaced by war? Really? Absolutely. It's said that a group of refugees who received the news have already gone to the Uzumaki clan's territory. The Uzumaki clan is tired of the war and wants to work with the refugees to build a new home. That's great. The Uzumaki are a renowned ninja clan in the Land of Fire, with such a high reputation and credibility. If it's them, they definitely have the power to protect us. Anyway, we're already living a precarious life, constantly on the move. Why not go to the Uzumaki clan's territory and see what's going on? Many displaced civilians, upon hearing the news of the establishment of Uzumaki Village, saw a glimmer of hope in the darkness and immediately brought their families to the Uzumaki clan's territory, hoping for a chance to survive. In the Uchiha clan's territory. Foolish. Uzumaki Dragon is utterly foolish. Uchiha Tajima scoffed at the intelligence his clansmen had gathered. I consider the Uzumaki clan my greatest enemy besides the Senju, but I never imagined Uzumaki Dragon would dig his own grave. I overestimated him. The elders of the Uchiha clan beside him laughed. How many civilians have been affected by the war? Let's not even talk about whether the Uzumaki clan has enough food to feed so many people. Even if they did, once so many civilians are assimilated into Uzumaki territory, the Uzumaki clan will perish. How can a ninja clan assimilate with civilians? If they assimilate with civilians, can they still be called a ninja clan? Their Uzumaki bloodline will be diluted through intermarriage with civilians. In just a few generations, there will be no truly pure-blooded Uzumaki clan members left in the Land of Fire. Chapter 11.11 My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Anyway, we Uchiha wouldn't do something so stupid. The Uzumaki are the Senju's greatest ally. Next, we just need to wait for a large influx of refugees to wear down the Uzumaki, and then we can launch a major offensive against the Senju with our allies. Afterwards, the Uchiha elders and Uchiha Tajima began discussing how to fight the remaining battles. Uchiha Madara, standing to the side, seemed lost in thought. Are the Uzumaki clan really stupid? He recalled his childhood, when he and Hashirama met by the river, neither knowing the other's identity, yet becoming close friends. At that time, their wish was to build a large village where all the clans could unite, ending the warring states period. Wasn't what the Uzumaki clan was doing now exactly what they had dreamed of back then? For some reason, at this moment, Madara actually hoped the Uzumaki clan would succeed. Meanwhile, in the Kaguya clan compound. Elders, do you know why I am holding this emergency meeting? A white-haired man with an effeminate appearance asked the Kaguya elders before him. He was Kaguya II, the head of the Kaguya clan. Is it because of the news that the Uzumaki clan established Whirlpool Village? The elder countered. That's right, we just suffered a defeat against the Uzumaki clan half a month ago, and they took an iron mine from us. I was just worrying about how to get revenge, but the Uzumaki dragon brought this upon itself, handing me the chance for revenge. Kaguya said in a deep voice, we know the Uzumaki clan's situation better than anyone. Apart from the iron mine they took from us, they are penniless and can barely feed themselves, let alone support any extra people, but according to my spies, more than 200 civilians have come to the Uzumaki clan's territory in just half a day today, and many more are on their way. The elders were overjoyed upon hearing this. With so many civilians suddenly becoming a burden to the Uzumaki clan, their granaries must be being depleted at an alarming rate. Exactly, Kaguya nodded. If only the Uzumaki clan members themselves were fed, their granaries could probably last for half a year. But judging from their current population growth rate, their granaries can only last for a month at most, Kaguya asserted confidently. After a month, the Uzumaki clan will have no food to distribute, and the civilians gathered in their territory will inevitably riot. That will be the time for our Kaguya clan to launch a grand offensive. Brilliant, the Kaguya elders' eyes lit up with excitement, as if they could already see the day when they would conquer the Uzumaki clan's territory. Years of war and turmoil had forged a deep-seated hatred between the Kaguya and Uzumaki clans, a feud that was irreconcilable, much like the relationship between the Uchiha and Senju clans. The annihilation of the Uzumaki clan is just around the corner, Kaguya said, enunciating each word clearly. The Land of Fire was only so big, and with the war years, each clan had spies planted outside, causing any movement to spread very quickly. The major ninja clans almost universally disapproved of the Uzumaki clan's decision to build a village. The reasoning was simple, they were all ninja clans, familiar with each other's situations, struggling to survive. In chaotic times, protecting their own clans was a feat in itself. How could the Uzumaki clan possibly have the time to shelter ordinary civilians? Wasn't that ridiculous? Uzumaki Dragon is confused. He doesn't see far enough. He only sees the immediate benefits of the population surge, but not the deadly hidden dangers that lie ahead. Many clan leaders secretly thought, believing that Uzumaki Dragon was on the first level, while they were on the second. Their perspectives were worlds apart. One wrong step could lead to the annihilation of the entire clan. The balance of power among the major ninja clans may be about to undergo another reshuffling. If only every ninja clan could be like the Uzumaki clan. In the Fire Country's palace, the daimyo sighed deeply. Initially, he was very happy to hear about the Uzumaki's village, as their actions greatly benefited the Fire Country, stabilizing the turbulent war situation. Many people believe that the reason the Land of Fire was fragmented into warring factions and ninja clan conflicts was entirely due to the daimyo's inaction. However, they didn't know that the daimyo wasn't unwilling to act, but rather unable to. He had his reasons. He desperately wanted to suppress and quell the rebellious ninja clans, but he couldn't. Those ninjas were all abnormally strong, capable of taking on 10 or even 100 men each. His civilian army was no match for them. Therefore, the daimyo could only sit back and watch the tigers fight. Not only did he dare not intervene in the ninja wars, but he also feared that one day a ninja might infiltrate the palace to assassinate him, so he had guards protect him by his bedside every night. Daimyo, an envoy from the Uzumaki clan is requesting an audience. Just as the daimyo was lost in thought, a guard suddenly entered the hall to report. An envoy from the Uzumaki clan. The daimyo was surprised and puzzled. How could he appear so suddenly? Wait, who is Cao? After a moment's hesitation, the daimyo nodded. Let him in. Yes, the guard took his leave, and less than 2 minutes later, he led a young man into the hall. The young man had the Uzumaki clan's signature red hair, and 3 hair streaks on each cheek, adding to his heroic air. Greetings, daimyo-sama, the young man bowed respectfully, neither humble nor arrogant. Are you an envoy from the Uzumaki clan? What is your name? The daimyo inquired. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, Uzumaki's Hakusun answered without changing his expression. The daimyo seemed thoughtful. So it's you. I've heard of you, you're quite famous in your Uzumaki clan. Hakusun's lips twitched slightly. How can this damn daimyo be even more shameless than me? He just spouts lies. If you've even heard of me, I'll gouge your eyes out right now. Your clan leader sent you to see me. Is there something you need? The daimyo asked, getting straight to the point. Jojuan didn't mince words, speaking seriously. Our clan leader wishes to request the daimyo to allocate funds and provide food relief to our clan. The daimyo fell silent, feigning ignorance. In the wars between the various ninja clans, he consistently maintained a neutral stance, neither aiding nor hindering any clan, primarily fearing that angering a ninja clan would lead to his assassination. This envoy's immediate request for food relief funds violated his principles. I presume the daimyo has already heard about the news of our Uzumaki clan's village construction, Jojuan asked. I have heard, the daimyo nodded. Then, daimyo, do you think our actions are right or wrong? Jojuan began to unleash his Uzumaki clan's unique bloodline limit, his persuasive talk. It's not bad, those people you've protected will be grateful, the daimyo replied after a slight hesitation. But their gratitude is useless. Our Uzumaki clan doesn't have enough food to feed them. Just today, over 300 civilians have flooded into Uzumaki village, Jojuan sighed. Chapter 12 You Uzumaki clan are the most righteous and kind. At this rate, our clan's granaries will be depleted in less than a month. Then, chaos will ensue, and the Kaguya, Uchiha, Kurama, and other ninja clans, already hostile to our clan, will certainly seize the opportunity to exterminate us, the daimyo frowned. Strictly speaking, all the ninja clans within the Land of Fire were his subjects. However, he felt no pity for them. In fact, he wished for their complete annihilation. The current chaos in the Land of Fire was entirely caused by these ninja clans. In the daimyo's view, if the ninjas disappeared one day, the Land of Fire would usher in complete peace. Jojuan, understanding the daimyo's thoughts, continued, in the turbulent wars of the past few decades, many ninja clans in the Land of Fire have perished. If our Uzumaki clan were to be wiped out, it would only mean our fate has run its course, but the fate of the Land of Fire should not end here. The daimyo's brow twitched violently, and he asked in surprise, what do you mean? These words struck a nerve. Jojuan didn't answer, but instead asked, has the daimyo considered what the final outcome would be for the Land of Fire if the various ninja clans were allowed to continue their chaotic warfare? The daimyo remained silent. Jojuan then unveiled the truth for him. The world's affairs, after a long period of unity, tend to divide. After a long period of division, tend to unite. In the end, one ninja clan will inevitably defeat all its rivals and become the sole hegemon of the Land of Fire. At that time, it will have no rivals to restrain it, and can do whatever it wants. It's only natural that it would covet the position of daimyo. Hearing this, the daimyo trembled slightly. He knew very well that the other party wasn't exaggerating. The ninja clans were his greatest threat, and he was powerless against them. The reason why no ninja clan dared to oppose him in the current chaotic ninja war in the Land of Fire was entirely because of his status as daimyo. As long as he remained daimyo, no ninja clan would dare to openly defy him, otherwise, they would be defying the world and provoking a united attack from all the ninja clans. But if they wait until the later stages of the war, and a final victor emerges among the ninja clans, then that single clan will be dominant and will have no qualms about attacking him. So, how can I avoid that outcome? The daimyo smiled bitterly, actually seeking advice from the Uzumaki's envoy. It's simple, Jojuan said earnestly, just provide relief funds and food for our Uzumaki clan. The daimyo, you managed to circumvent that, Jojuan explained. Years of war have severely weakened our clan. My people are weary of war, which is why we issued a declaration to protect civilians, hoping to build a peaceful and stable village. It's not just our clan that's weary of war, the other ninja clans are the same. Their endless wars are all for plundering land and resources. If one day they could live a life free from want, who would want to fight on the battlefield? The war would naturally stop. The daimyo's expression shifted repeatedly. He had to admit that what the other said made perfect sense. This was a way to stop the war, solving the problem at its root. That's exactly what my clan is doing right now, Jojuan continued. If my clan truly builds a peaceful and stable village, other ninja clans will be envious and follow suit. Everyone will be busy building villages. And war will vanish without a trace. That makes sense. The daimyo couldn't help but nod, his eyes gleaming. Jojuan continued, therefore, the fate of my clan and the fate of the Land of Fire are practically intertwined. If my clan can develop and build itself up, the end of the Warring States period will be just around the corner. If my clan perishes, he shook his head, ending his sentence there, and said no more. The daimyo understood his meaning. The Uzumaki clan was now a prime example among ninja clans, completely different from others. The prosperity of the Uzumaki meant the prosperity of the Land of Fire, the demise of the Uzumaki meant the demise of the Land of Fire. He had to support the Uzumaki clan. How much grain does Uzumaki Dragon want me to provide? The daimyo suddenly asked. 200,000 gan of grain and 15 billion taels of silver, Jojuan replied. That's too much, the daimyo frowned, pondering for a moment before saying, I can only give him 50,000 gan of grain and 1 billion taels of silver. Jojuan wanted to complain a bit. 1 billion taels of silver in later generations would only be enough to buy 20 Asuma's heads. It seemed even the daimyo's family didn't have any surplus grain. Your Uzumaki clan will take this grain and money for now. If you run out, I will find a way to support you further. Of all the ninja clans, your Uzumaki clan is the most righteous and kind. I sincerely hope you can establish Uzumaki village and set a good example for other ninja clans, the daimyo said solemnly. Thank you for your generous assistance, daimyo-sama. All the members of my Uzumaki clan are extremely grateful and will certainly live up to your expectations. Jojuan also expressed his gratitude solemnly. In addition, I have a request. You must not reveal a word of my assistance to other ninja clans. You must transport those grains and supplies back to Uzumaki village secretly, without anyone noticing. The daimyo was afraid of causing dissatisfaction among other ninja clans, so he requested secrecy. No problem, I have dozens of clansmen outside the palace, and we all know how to use earth magic. Jojuan patted his chest confidently. Half an hour later, looking at the dozens of red-haired whirlpool clansmen before him, the daimyo was completely relieved and arranged for his ministers to secretly allocate resources from the national treasury. Whirlpool clan territory, oh no, it should now be called Whirlpool Village. After a busy day, the Whirlpool clansmen finally settled the more than 300 civilians who had come to seek refuge, letting them temporarily live with the Whirlpool clansmen. Late that night, Whirlpool Dragon summoned his children and a group of elders to discuss the subsequent village construction matters. Many civilians have come to seek refuge, which is within expectations. We must sell the iron ore as soon as possible, otherwise the granary will not be able to support the losses, Whirlpool Dragon said. Jojuan, elder, you two will be responsible for communicating with the daimyo about the sale of the iron ore. Yes, Whirlpool Jojuan obediently replied. The first elder hesitated, feeling that he and Ashina should be in charge of this matter, since Ashina had proposed the village building plan, and it would be a good experience for him as well. Just then, in a corner of the council hall, ripples suddenly appeared on the ground. And a masked man in black emerged. Who goes there? The elders were shocked and stood up to confront him, ready to fight at any moment. No need to be nervous, everyone. I am a guard of the daimyo, not your enemy, the man in black said in a hoarse voice, revealing a friendly tone. You say you are a guard of the daimyo, what proof do you have? Uzumaki Ryu asked warily, his face ashen. I have proof, of course, the man in black laughed in his uniquely hoarse voice. The next second, ripples spread around him, and loads of grain were thrown out. Chapter 13. One person holds up a grand show. This, everyone was shocked. Several elders who had previously harbored hostility towards the man in black were caught off guard by the scene. Besides the grain, box after box of money and silver were thrown from the ground, dazzlingly white. Only after the meeting room was almost completely filled did the man in black stop his ninjutsu and say with a faint smile, this generous gift is proof that I am a guard of the daimyo. Uzumaki Ryu took a deep breath. The daimyo has learned of the establishment of Uzumaki village by your Uzumaki clan. He is pleased for you and hopes that you can build a truly peaceful and powerful homeland in this chaotic world, protecting more civilians and setting an example for other ninja clans. These 50,000 gan of grain and 1 billion taels of silver are a congratulatory gift from the daimyo to you for the establishment of your village. We hope you will not refuse. Uzumaki Ryu bowed respectfully and said, thank you for your assistance, daimyo. All of us in the Uzumaki clan are deeply grateful, including Mito, Jojuan, and their siblings. All the elders bowed in gratitude. Once the situation in Uzashio village stabilizes, I will definitely lead my clan to the Imperial Palace to personally thank the daimyo. That won't be necessary, the man in black said. The daimyo has instructed that this matter of the congratulatory gift is a secret between you, me, and heaven, and need not be revealed to other ninja clans. Chief Dragon is a wise man and naturally knows the reason. Uzumaki Dragon's expression remained respectful. Please rest assured, daimyo, Our Uzumaki clan will never cause him any trouble, the man in black nodded. That would be best. With that, his body merged into the ground, and he vanished using earth. Earth is a technique in Chinese fantasy novels. Am I dreaming? So much food and money. The first elder stared at the mountain of treasure chests and grain sacks before him, feeling a sense of unreality. The second elder, impatient by nature, couldn't help but rush forward, picking up a pinch of wheat and putting it in his mouth. Delicious. So delicious, his eyes shone with indescribable excitement. With this aid from the daimyo, we don't need to sell the iron ore. This is fantastic news. As expected of the daimyo, he stepped in at a crucial moment, solving our immediate crisis. With this money and supplies, we can definitely survive the initial stage of village construction. Everyone was extremely excited, overjoyed, especially Ashina, whose smile stretched from ear to ear. Uzumaki Ryu narrowed his eyes, his feelings complicated. Before today, he thought the daimyo of the Land of Fire was a good-for-nothing, lacking any governing talent. Now it seemed he had greatly underestimated the daimyo. The daimyo was not a good-for-nothing, but rather wise beyond his years. Don't be fooled by his apparent indifference, he was actually as clear-headed as a mirror, perhaps just waiting for the right moment to strike. He could no longer underestimate the daimyo. Even one of his black-clad guards gave him an air of unfathomable mystery. Keep what happened just now a secret. Don't even tell your clansmen, Uzumaki Ryu sternly ordered. Yes, Jojuan lowered his head, secretly letting out a long sigh of relief, making no attempt to draw attention to himself. He was exhausted from playing this whole charade alone. Relying entirely on his improved shadow clone technique and transformation technique. If things went as expected, he could now relax for quite some time and focus on his eye experiments. The most difficult thing during the Warring States period was undoubtedly land reclamation. Even in peaceful times, commoners needed to prepare enough food for the next day to reclaim land. Now, with the chaos of the 100 tribes and the constant displacement and uncertainty of life, cultivating a piece of wasteland to make a living was virtually impossible. However, in Wacheo village, all the difficulties of land reclamation were resolved. Wacheo village not only provided everyone with food for the next day but also protected their safety. Thus, from the second day after the village's founding, the commoners who came to seek refuge began a massive construction project, working with great enthusiasm. Uzumaki Dragon clearly divided the tasks. Some civilians cultivated wasteland, others felled trees to build houses, still others gathered wild fruits and hunted, and a third formed a guard team to patrol the village with the Uzumaki clan. Everything was arranged in an orderly fashion, rapidly developing from nothing to something in a positive direction. After a day of spread, over 600 civilians came to join Uzumaki village the next day. Uzumaki Dragon, unconcerned about spies planted by other ninja clans, accepted them all and devoted them to the village's development. He now had money and food, lacking only manpower. He had to transform Uzumaki village into an impregnable fortress in the shortest time possible, just as Ashina had said, accumulate grain, build high walls, and delay your claim to kingship. On the third day, the number of those joining reached 800. On the fourth day, it exceeded 1,000. The population of Uzumaki village grew at an incredible rate, surpassing 5 figures in just half a month. This number terrified all the ninja clans who were secretly observing. They couldn't believe how much food a village of over 10,000 people would consume daily. It's important to understand that some small ninja clans only have a few hundred members, and even the large ones barely exceed 1,000. They live frugally and simply can't afford to support idle people. The Uzumaki clan has definitely pulled out all the stops. Their madness is astonishing. We watched them build a tall building, and then we watched it collapse. The other ninja clans watched coldly, believing this was the Uzumaki clan's last act of madness. Throughout history, countless ninja clans have vanished into the annals of history. The Uzumaki clan is not the first, nor will it be the last. Half a month later, in the woods 3 miles outside of Uzumaki village, Uzumaki's Hakusun, a dog's tail dangling from his mouth, leisurely led a group of guards on patrol, looking lazy and unreliable. Young Masters Hakusun, we've been walking for half a day. Shouldn't we rest for a bit? A Uzumaki clansman bowed and scraped as he asked for permission. Jojuan blinked. Alright, let's rest for half an hour then. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and took out their rations to rest on the spot. Many of the civilians cast curious glances at Jojuan, secretly observing him. Having been in Uzushio village for the past few days, they had heard about the village chief's good-for-nothing son. He was said to be lazy and unambitious, with mediocre strength and talent. Yet because of his status as the village chief's son, even the village's jonin had to treat him with utmost respect. He was, however, quite handsome and fair-skinned. "I'm going to take a nap. Wake me up in half an hour," Jojuan said to a nearby Uzumaki clan jonin, casually grabbing a leaf the size of a roof tile and covering his face to begin his afternoon nap. The others didn't dare disturb him. Instead, they felt that working with such a lazy leader allowed them to relax a bit and avoid the fatigue, which was quite nice. Their main task was to patrol the area around Uzushio village to detect enemy activity and prevent surprise attacks from other ninja clans, a situation that was both safe and dangerous. Chapter 14: The Arrival of the Hyuga clan. Given the current strength of the Uzumaki clan, no other ninja clan had any intention of attacking. They were all quietly waiting for the day this behemoth would collapse on its own. Time passed, and the light and shadow in the forest shifted and changed. Everyone was enjoying the rare leisurely afternoon. Suddenly, Jojuan's body trembled slightly, and he silently grabbed a handful of dirt and smeared it on his face. A group of people was approaching from the other end of the mountain path. "Someone's coming." Uzumaki Maple Leaf was the first to notice the uninvited guests. He was the only jonin in the guard team, and his senses were exceptionally sharp. Everyone suddenly stood up, watching the group in the distance with extreme vigilance, no longer daring to be careless. Jojuan belatedly removed the leaves from his face, his eyes still blurry with sleep, his face covered in dirt, making it impossible to recognize his original appearance. The guard's attention was focused on the uninvited guests, and they didn't pay attention to Jojuan. The few who saw him covered in dirt just assumed he had been sleeping too soundly and had smeared himself on the ground. "This is Uzushio village. Who are you?" Uzumaki Kid asked in a deep voice. Although Jojuan was nominally the leader of their group, Uzumaki Kid knew that Jojuan's strength was ultimately weak, and in any real situation, it would be up to him, a jonin, to control the overall situation. "I am Hyuga Tenfu, the head of the Hyuga clan. I have come to Uzushio village to discuss important matters with Chief Dragon." "I have no hostile intentions," Hyuga Tenfu replied. The Hyuga clan's physical characteristics were extremely distinctive. Everyone had Byakugan. One glance was enough to know their origins. However, hearing Hyuga Tenfu reveal his identity as the clan head was still quite surprising. The clan head carried far more weight than an ordinary Hyuga clansman. "Our Uzumaki clan and the Hyuga are not allies. You cannot approach Uzushio village without permission," Uzumaki Kid said coldly, not intimidated by Hyuga Tenfu's name. If it were members of rival ninja clans like Kaguya, Uchiha, or Kurama, the two sides would already be fighting, and there would be no communication. "I know," Hyuga Tenfu said calmly. "Please inform the Dragon Clan chief that my Hyuga clan has a great gift to present, and the Dragon Clan chief will be willing to see me." Uzumaki Maple hesitated, not immediately agreeing. After thinking for a moment, he cast a questioning glance at Jojuan, who had somehow become disheveled. Jojuan was helpless. Feeling guilty, he certainly didn't want Hyuga Tenfu to meet his father, but the opposing force was too strong. Besides Hyuga Tenfu, there were several Hyuga elders, including Hyuga Tenin, and the Hyuga girl who had repeatedly severely injured him on the battlefield half a month ago. Their guards alone couldn't possibly stop them. Jojuan could only nod. "All right," said Uzumaki Maple. "You all wait here. I'll send someone to inform the Dragon Clan chief." He then summoned a chunin from the guards and ordered him to ride back to Uzushio village at top speed. Hyuga Tenfu had no objections and showed no impatience, standing quietly with his clansmen, maintaining a standoff. During the wait, the Hyuga clansmen discreetly observed the guards, their expressions strangely inscrutable. They had heard about the Uzumaki clan's rampant recruitment of civilians over the past 2 weeks, and they could see that there were only about a dozen red-haired Uzumaki clansmen in front of them. The rest were all civilians, without even a trace of chakra. If a fight broke out, a single chunin could easily slaughter these civilians. The Hyuga and Uchiha clansmen were similarly proud, and they couldn't understand the Uzumaki clan's practice of recruiting civilians. In any case, the Hyuga clan would never merge with civilians and taint their bloodline, nor would they ever give away their precious rations to civilians. In their eyes, civilians were nothing but useless waste. These people are oblivious to the impending calamity. They're truly foolish and pathetic, Hyuga Kotoko thought to herself. As the daughter of the Hyuga clan, her pride surpassed even that of her brother, Hyuga Tenin. Her gaze boldly swept over the faces of the Uzumaki clan members. "They're all ugly as freaks, not a single one is pleasing to the eye," she scoffed. When she saw a Uzumaki clan member whose face was covered in dirt and grime, she felt even more disgusted, thinking him foolish and obviously unintelligent. If she didn't genuinely need something from the Uzumaki clan, she wouldn't bother with him. While being scrutinized by the Hyuga clan, the guards were also observing them. Jojuan gradually regained his composure, his initial guilty conscience replaced by a sense of calm. When he first sensed the arrival of the Hyuga clan, he thought his Black Zetsu identity had been exposed, and they were coming specifically to seek revenge, almost causing him to use his 5 elements escape technique to flee. Now, however, he had no such worries. If they were truly seeking revenge, they certainly wouldn't wait patiently for an announcement, they would immediately unleash a massacre. Could it be that they see Uchiha village is doing well recently and want to form an alliance to curry favor? That's impossible. Even if the two clans form an alliance, I'll still gouge out their eyes. Jojuan secretly guessed Hyuga Tenfu's intentions. Even though the Senju clan and Uzumaki are the closest of friends, he has recently been planning to obtain Hashirama's cells. No one can stop his pace of becoming stronger. In the blink of an eye, half an hour later, the Chunin who was sent out earlier returned, along with the second elder of the Uzumaki clan. The second elder recognized Hyuga Tenfu at first glance and smiled. "I didn't know that clan leader Tenfu would grace us with his presence. I'm sorry for not welcoming you properly, elder, you're too kind. We came uninvited and have disturbed you." Hyuga Tenfu lowered his posture. The second elder gave him a deep look. "Clan leader Ryu is handling official business in the village and cannot personally greet you. Clan leader Tenfu, please come with me." Hyuga Tenfu naturally did not refuse and followed the second elder to Uchiha village. After the Hyuga clan members disappeared from sight, Uzumaki Kid and the others finally breathed a sigh of relief. The situation they had just experienced left them with a lingering fear. They had actually confronted the Hyuga clan leader? How thrilling. I wonder what important matter the Hyuga clan wants to discuss with the Dragon clan chief. They even said they have a big gift to give. So mysterious, the crowd couldn't help but discuss. Their curiosity piqued. Jojuan's eyes darted around a couple of times. He told Uzumaki Kid he needed to use the restroom and headed towards the nearby dense forest. He was most curious about the Hyuga clan's intentions. After all, he had been keeping a close eye on the Hyuga clan's Byakugan on the battlefield for the past 4 years, and he needed to understand their movements. Reaching a secluded spot, Jojuan first formed hand seals to create a modified shadow clone, then his body exploded into white mist with a poof. As the mist dissipated, Jojuan's main body, who was fusing his eyes in a laboratory 100 miles away, instantly received the memory transmission from the shadow clone. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Hyuga's Scheme. A generous gift from a weasel to a chicken, it's all ill-intentioned, Jojuan muttered to himself, stopping his experiment and removing his white lab coat. The sudden visit of the Hyuga clan gave him an ominous feeling, making it impossible for him to focus on merging the eyes. If it were the Senju clan offering a generous gift, he might believe them, but the Hyuga and Uzumaki were not related. If they claimed to be offering benefits, they must have ulterior motives. Thinking this, Jojuan used his transformation technique, instantly transforming into Black Zetsu, and quickly returned to Uchiha village. Over the years, he had become accustomed to using Black Zetsu's identity. Wherever evil deeds were committed, Black Zetsu's traces were always present, establishing him as the most evil mastermind in the entire ninja world. Uchiha village has only been established for half a month, and the conditions are simple. "Please excuse our poor appearance," the elder said, leading Hyuga Shianfu and the others into the village. The Hyuga clan members remained silent, but their faces showed obvious surprise, constantly looking around. The bustling scene before them was far beyond their expectations. Thousands upon thousands of commoners were diligently cultivating the wasteland, densely packed together like industrious ants. The Uzumaki clan members were not idle either, using their multiple shadow clone technique to move stones and cut timber. They took on the heavy work that the commoners couldn't do, building a wall tens of meters high around Uchiha village with remarkable skill. For a moment, Hyuga Tenfu had the illusion that the Uzumaki clan wasn't building a village, but rather creating a nation. In the end, he pursed his lips and said nothing. Soon, the second elder led the Hyuga clan members to the clan head's residence. Stepping through the gate, they saw Uzumaki Ryu sitting in the courtyard brewing tea, with Mito and Ashina, the siblings, sitting obediently on either side of him. Mito and Ashina had been involved in the construction of Uzushio village just a quarter of an hour ago, but after learning of Hyuga Tenfu's visit, Ryu had summoned them, wanting his children to broaden their horizons. Clan Chief Shianfu, please have a seat, Long greeted him, his tone as calm as if meeting an old friend he hadn't seen in years. Shianfu nodded and sat down opposite him, with Shinrun, Rika, and other clan members standing beside him. Long poured him a cup of tea, but Shianfu didn't drink it. Having traveled this far, I wonder what your impression of our Whirlpool village is, Clan Chief Shianfu. Looking at the calm smile on Long's face, Shianfu hesitated for a moment before replying, to be honest, it has exceeded my expectations. I initially thought Whirlpool Village was just a small-scale operation, but I didn't expect it to be so large-scale. Although it's in its initial stages now, its eventual prosperity will likely rival that of the Fire Country's capital. Rika and the others vaguely agreed. When they encountered the guards earlier, they had been quite disdainful of the Uzumaki clan's village-building efforts, but after personally entering Whirlpool Village, their attitudes unconsciously changed. Perhaps the Uzumaki clan really would build a second Fire Country capital. Hell, everything is difficult at the beginning, let alone achieving the final result. Uzumaki Ryu shook his head, downed his tea in one gulp, then refilled it, and said wistfully, now, I wonder how many ninja clans are hiding in the shadows, watching the joke unfold, waiting for the day Uzumaki Village collapses and destroys itself. Will already be roasted on the stove. At this moment, Jojuan used Earth Release to infiltrate Uzumaki Village, released the Byakugan seal on his right eye, and found the Hyuga clan members in his own home. He hesitated for a moment, then used a sealing technique to completely conceal his aura, quietly lurking underground in the courtyard. He used a modified version of Wind Release, hearing the wind technique to eavesdrop on his father and Hyuga Tenfu's conversation. The Uzumaki clan is indeed in a precarious situation, but I don't think Clan Chief Ryu is as anxious as I imagined, Hyuga Tenfu said expressionlessly. I just didn't let you see it. If I didn't even have this much self-control, I wouldn't deserve to be the clan chief, Ryu said, his hands never stopping as he brewed tea. It seems the Uzumaki clan is quite wealthy. If it were their Hyuga clan supporting tens of thousands of civilians for half a month, it wouldn't be crippling, but they would inevitably be stretched thin. No matter how wealthy a family is, it can't fill a bottomless pit. Thinking of the money and food aid from the daimyo, the calm smile on Uzumaki Ryu's face suddenly became somewhat strained. After a moment of silence, Hyuga Tenfu finally revealed the purpose of his visit. Our Hyuga clan can actually help alleviate some of the pressure on Uzushio village. Oh? Is this the grand gift that Clan Chief Tenfu intends to offer? Yes, Hyuga Tenfu didn't mince words. Our Hyuga clan can provide Uzushio village with 10,000 gan of grain and 200 million taels of silver. If we're frugal, it can sustain us for a month or two. Indeed a grand gift, Uzumaki Ryu pondered. What do we need to give in return? The Uzumaki clan's sealing techniques are renowned throughout the ninja world. No other ninja clan in the 5 great nations can rival their sealing techniques. I would like to request Clan Chief Ryu to develop a sealing technique for our clan. Underground, Jojuan, who had overheard this, already sensed something was amiss. What kind of sealing technique does Clan Chief Tenfu desire? Uzumaki Ryu inquired. Hyuga Tenfu proposed his idea, a sealing technique that automatically destroys the brain and eyes upon death. Furthermore, after the seal is placed, the victim's life and death are entirely at the caster's mercy. Jojuan, damn it. It really is that damned caged bird seal. His feelings were incredibly complex. He never expected to witness the birth of the caged bird seal in this way, and he felt like crying. Actually, he had long suspected that the Hyuga clan were just a bunch of brutes who only knew how to fight. How could they possibly develop such a sophisticated curse as the caged bird seal? They probably bought it from the Uzumaki clan. However, after witnessing his own conjecture confirmed, he felt like he'd been screwed over. Undoubtedly, once the caged bird seal was created, he would no longer be able to freely gouge out his Byakugan on the battlefield as before, and his plan to fuse the Tenseigan would be aborted. Dad, please don't agree to it. Please don't agree, Jojuan prayed silently, panicked. Is this sealing technique to deal with Black Zetsu? Uzumaki Ryu asked. The land of fire is only so big, and the grudges and feuds between Black Zetsu, Hyuga, and Uchiha are no secret. Uzumaki Ryu felt a bit of sympathy for the two great Zetsu clans having their eyes ruthlessly gouged out. He thought Black Zetsu was too perverted and evil. Fortunately, he didn't gouge out ordinary eyes, otherwise he would have been hunted down by all the major ninja clans long ago. Half the reason is for this. The other half is to deal with the status issue between the main family and the branch family, Hyuga Tenfu answered truthfully. There was no need to hide this reason. The Hyuga clan's main family system was extremely cruel, and all the other ninja clans already knew about it. The branch family was unwilling to be oppressed and enslaved by the main family, and recently there had been signs of a rebellion and independence. Coupled with the Black Zetsu's constant harassment of gouging out eyes, the internal and external troubles made Hyuga Tenfu, the clan head, extremely exhausted. Chapter 16 Poison Escape, a technique that kills with just one smell. Hyuga Tenfu was indeed impressed by the Uzumaki clan's sealing techniques, which is why he approached them with great sincerity seeking cooperation. If Uzumaki Ryu could truly develop the sealing technique he envisioned, it would solve the two major predicaments facing the Hyuga clan simultaneously, and he would be willing to pay any price for it. The sealing technique you mentioned isn't difficult in principle, Uzumaki Ryu pondered. Having immersed himself in sealing techniques his entire life, he only needed to hear Hyuga Tenfu explain his idea once for him to immediately form a rudimentary structure of a sealing technique in his mind. Give me 2 days to deduce and research, and I should be able to develop it. Hyuga Tenfu breathed a sigh of relief, and the Hyuga clan members around him all showed joy. Jojuan's heart sank instantly. His sealing technique skills were also extremely high, and he understood that this was like solving a math problem. As long as you grasped the principle of the logical formula, you could gradually explore many variations. He himself had developed many uses for sealing techniques, combining them with various ninjutsu such as transformation techniques, stealth techniques, and shadow clone techniques. With his father's abilities, developing a caged bird seal would be more than enough. Once the Hyuga clan obtained it, Jojuan would be completely helpless. Even if he could break the seal, it wouldn't matter, because the caged bird seal would destroy the Byakugan the moment a Hyuga clansman died, giving him no chance whatsoever. Before Jojuan could lament his Byakugan fusion project, he suddenly heard his father change the subject. However, the grand gift sent by the Shianfu clan leader isn't enough to exchange for such a sealing technique. We need to add more money. Hyuga Shianfu frowned, understanding that he was about to make an exorbitant demand. I can add another 5,000 gan of grain. He gritted his teeth. Uzumaki Ryu didn't speak, his gaze falling on Hyuga Rika beside him. I've long heard that the Heavenly Mansion clan chief's son, Hyuga Tenin, and daughter, Hyuga Rika, are both outstanding talents among the younger generation, true geniuses. Seeing them today, I can confirm their reputation is well deserved. Hyuga Tenfu didn't understand his change of topic, but after a moment's thought, he went along with it, saying, outstanding talents depend on who you compare them to. The Dragon Clan chief's daughter, Uzumaki Mito, and son, Uzumaki Ashina, are equally renowned. This conversation left the onlookers bewildered. Weren't they supposed to be buying sealing techniques? Why were they suddenly engaging in mutual flattery? Jojuan desperately hoped his father would ask for an exorbitant price, preferably something so ruthless that it would scare Hyuga Tenfu to death and dissuade him from buying the caged bird seal. I wonder if the Heavenly Mansion clan chief's daughter is married, Uzumaki Dragon asked. No, my second son, Uzumaki Jojuan, is also unmarried. If the Heavenly Mansion clan chief is willing to betroth his daughter to him, adding this to the previous conditions would be enough. Upon hearing this, the entire room fell silent. Jojuan was dumbfounded. He did hope his father would make an exorbitant demand, but not this kind. Trying to match him with Hyuga Rika? Was he trying to hasten his own demise? Jojuan was no stranger to Hyuga Rika. She was one of the most outstanding talents in the Land of Fire, second only to her brother Hyuga Tenin in the clan, her status equivalent to Uchiha Izuna of the Uchiha clan or Senju Tobirama of the Senju clan. Half a month ago, during the battle, she had knocked Jojuan flying several times while he was gouging out eyes. He could never marry a woman like that. Hyuga Tenin frowned, about to refuse. Impossible. Hyuga Rika blurted out, I will never marry. Who's there? Uzumaki Ryuko's eyes narrowed, sensing an unusual aura beneath his feet. He immediately hurled a Vajra chain into the ground. Boom! The Vajra chain pierced the ground, forcing Jojuan, who was hiding below, out and leaping into the air. Black Zetsu, Hyuga Tenfu was shocked to see who jumped out, never expecting Black Zetsu to have overheard his conversation with Uzumaki Ryu. The next second, without hesitation, Hyuga Tenfu unleashed a Bagua mountain-shattering strike, condensing chakra into a laser beam that blasted towards Jojuan. Bang! Jojuan was struck head-on, exploding into countless fragments. Such a skilled substitution jutsu, Uzumaki Ryu was quite surprised, quickly locating Jojuan and throwing out over a dozen Vajra chains to bind him tightly. PFFT, white mist exploded, and the bound figure turned into a wooden stake. Another substitution jutsu, Uzumaki Ryu was even more astonished, feeling that the opponent's substitution jutsu was executed with such fluidity and flawlessness. He had never seen anyone master the substitution jutsu to such a high degree. Looking up, he saw Black Zetsu using wind release, using the force of the wind to rise into the air and escape towards the horizon. Just as Uzumaki Ryu was about to unleash his full power to knock him down, he suddenly saw Black Zetsu's cheeks bulge out, spewing out a cloud of white mist. Poison release, one bite, one death technique. A large amount of white mist rolled in, and everyone's eyelids twitched wildly at the mere mention of the ninjutsu's name. Given Black Zetsu's ruthless nature, it was entirely possible for him to spew out poison mist. Retreat, whoosh whoosh whoosh, everyone dodged and retreated, getting as far away from the white mist as possible. Ah! A childish scream rang out, and Ashina collapsed to the ground, his face contorted in pain, clutching his neck tightly. Ashina, what's wrong with you? Uzumaki Ryu and Mito quickly rushed to Ashina's side. I inhaled some poison gas, Ashina stammered, tightening his grip on his neck, his face turning purple as he tried to breathe, afraid of swallowing the poison. Don't talk, I'll force it out, Mito said anxiously, using a medical ninjutsu, her palm emitting a hazy blue light as it landed on Ashina's neck. Besides possessing formidable combat strength, Mito was also an excellent medical ninja. Everyone gathered around her with solemn expressions, not daring to make the slightest noise. After a moment, Mito with a strange expression withdrew her medical ninjutsu. Looking at her brother's face covered by the pain mask, she hesitated. That wasn't poison gas, just ordinary water vapor, huh? Ashina was stunned. Mito removed his hand, and Ashina subconsciously took a few deep breaths, then gasped for air. HMPH. That Black Zetsu is simply a cunning villain. Uzumaki Ryu was furious, his face turning pale and then purple, feeling severely insulted. He was the dignified head of the Uzumaki clan. Hyuga Tenfu and the others were equally enraged, wishing they could capture Black Zetsu and burn him alive. Unfortunately, with that delay, Black Zetsu had already vanished without a trace. After a while, Ashina finally recovered. Looking at the strange looks from everyone and thinking about his performance just now, he felt like he had died on the spot, and his toes were so embarrassed that he wanted to dig a 3-bedroom apartment out of them. Black Zetsu is so hateful. If my second brother were here, he would never have been fooled by Black Zetsu, Ashina thought to himself, and suddenly missed his smart second brother. Chapter 17 The marriage is set. Clan Chief Shianfu, please consider the conditions I just mentioned carefully, said Uzumaki Ryu. Hyuga Shianfu remained silent, while Hyuga Rika fumed, feeling that Ryu was, in some ways, even more despicable than Black Zetsu. He was forcing her to marry his son, wasn't that taking advantage of her misfortune? However, she wasn't too worried, she trusted her father wouldn't treat her like a commodity. Mito, Ashina, you two take Clan Chief Shianfu and the others to rest. Yes, sir. The two siblings quickly left with their entourage, leaving only Uzumaki Ryu in the courtyard. He picked up his teacup and savored it. Black Zetsu, his thoughts raced. He had only heard rumors of Black Zetsu's evil and perverse nature from others before, but after actually fighting him, he realized just how terrifying and troublesome the opponent was. Black Zetsu's terror lay not in his strength, but in his cunning. He lurked in the shadows, like a mastermind, secretly plotting schemes, ready to deliver a fatal blow at any moment. As the saying goes, it's not the theft itself that's frightening, but the thief's eye on something else, especially when the thief is eyeing something like ice. Uzumaki Ryu suddenly understood the fear the Uchiha and Hyuga clans had felt under Black Zetsu's control all these years. Anyone would be afraid in that situation. If it weren't for his second son Uzumaki's Hakusun's marriage, he genuinely wouldn't have risked antagonizing Black Zetsu to help the Hyuga clan. The money and provisions sent by the daimyo, combined with the Uzumaki clan's own resources, were enough to sustain them through the initial stages of village construction if they lived frugally. The grand gift promised by Hyuga Tenfu was optional, it was icing on the cake, but its absence wouldn't be fatal. Uzumaki Ryu had come to terms with it. He used to be disappointed in his second son, feeling he was a disgrace and a disgrace. But over the years, he had slowly accepted reality. He didn't say it aloud, but in his heart, he had acknowledged that Hakusun was ordinary and mediocre. The future of the clan's great cause would either fall to Mito or Ashina, and had nothing to do with him. Therefore, Uzumaki Ryu had long been arranging a way out for him. Hyuga Rika was the legitimate daughter of Hyuga Tenfu, and if the two married, they would definitely have a good future. Black Zetsu, you have no enmity with your Uzumaki. I'm only doing this for my son. I hope you know what's good for you and won't take it out on Uzumaki and fight us to the death. Uzumaki Ryu thought to himself, no matter what the final outcome, he wouldn't regret his decision today. That evening, Hyuga Tenfu came to their door again. This time he came alone. He didn't waste any words and went straight to the point, agreeing to Uzumaki Ryu's marriage conditions and agreeing to marry Rika to Jojuan. Hyuga Tenfu originally didn't want to sell his daughter, but after learning that Black Zetsu had overheard his conversation with Uzumaki Ryu, he had no choice but to agree, even if he didn't want to. It was conceivable that if he didn't bring back the sealing technique he wanted, he would suffer even more ruthless attacks from Black Zetsu. That bastard would do anything to get the Byakugan. His covetousness for the Byakugan had to be suppressed. If half of Hyuga Tenfu's initial acquisition of the sealing technique was to deal with Black Zetsu, and the other half was to deal with the branch family members, then now, at least 90% of his motivation is to deal with Black Zetsu. Even if the branch family members successfully rebelled and overthrew the main family system to become independent, the Hyuga clan would at least still exist. Black Zetsu is different. If he continues to gouge out the Hyuga clan's eyes, the clan might even be wiped out by him. Mito, call Jojuan back later and have him meet with Hyuga Rika tomorrow, Uzumaki Ryu said to his daughter during dinner. Mito and Ashina were stunned and looked at each other. Dad, did the Hyuga clan leader agree? Yes, Uzumaki Ryu said calmly, as he was always so serious and unsmiling at home. Next, pick a date, and we can arrange their wedding in a while. I'm going to have a sister-in-law. Ashina's eyes widened, completely bewildered, feeling that everything had happened too fast. Just a few words exchanged this afternoon, and I already have a sister-in-law? Mito hesitated, then said, Hyuga Rika is quite pretty, and she's a good match for our family. However, I think she's impulsive, and she and Jojuan might not get along. She was being considerate of her brother's feelings and didn't directly express her concern that Jojuan might be abused by his wife after marriage. Whether they get along or not is their own business, Uzumaki Ryu said dismissively. After all, Jojuan would be under his watchful eye every day after marriage. What could the Hyuga family woman possibly do to their Uzumaki village? Then we should also get Jojuan's consent, otherwise it will be difficult if he doesn't like Hyuga Rika. Mito, being the only woman in the family, was thoughtful and considered things carefully. Don't like her, Uzumaki Ryu scoffed. He's just a mere special chunin. Marrying a genius from the Hyuga clan is his good fortune. He should be secretly delighted. What right does he have to look down on her? Ryu is telling the truth. If it weren't for Hyuga Tenfu needing his help and them just happened to run into each other, Jojuan would never have been able to marry Hyuga Rika. At most, he would have married an ordinary girl from his clan. Don't overthink it. Marrying Hyuga Rika would be beneficial to both Jojuan and our Uzumaki village. Mito was silent for a moment, then stopped speaking. She knew her father was doing it for her brother's good, but when it came to matters of the heart, how to put it? Anyway, if it were me, no matter how powerful someone I don't like is, I won't marry them. And no matter how mediocre someone I like is, I still. Mito seemed to be thinking of someone, and two blushes suddenly crept onto her cheeks. She silently lowered her head and ate her food. What? I just went out on patrol, and father has already found me a wife, in the mountains. Jojuan, who had just reunited with his sister, was shocked, his eyes wide with disbelief. He was genuinely stunned. After his covert operation was exposed at noon, he had hurriedly slipped away and knew nothing of what had happened afterward. He never expected that the Hyuga clan would agree to his father's clearly extortionate conditions. The Hyuga are supposed to be a great clan, can't they have some backbone? How can they sell their daughters for personal gain? Yes, Ashina was excited. Second brother, my sister and I have met sister-in-law. She's very beautiful. And she's also the most outstanding genius in the Hyuga clan. She's wonderful, Jojuan, so good. Do you want to marry her, Ashina? What nonsense are you talking about? Mito was both amused and exasperated. You come back with us first. Father said he'll arrange for you to meet Rika tomorrow. Take your time, don't be in a rush. With Jojuan gone, the duties of the head of the guard team were handed over to Uzumaki Kid, and everyone congratulated him. They were both on patrol to investigate enemy positions, but one man's father had already arranged everything for his wife before he even left. It was impossible for them not to be envious. Chapter 18 I am the Whirlpool Maneuver. Jojuan followed his older sister and younger brother home. He was filled with anxiety the whole way, realizing he was caught in a political marriage. Once he married Hyuga Rika, the Uzumaki and Hyuga clans would form an alliance, just like the alliance with the Senju. But I'm just a useless piece of trash. Why choose me for a political marriage instead of Ashina? Jojuan was frustrated. He had tried his best to keep a low profile within the clan, but trouble still found him. He had never considered marriage. After all, he was only 16. In his previous life, he wouldn't have even graduated high school. What kind of marriage was he planning, especially with a girl from the Hyuga clan? He had to refuse the marriage no matter what. Seeing Jojuan's quiet demeanor, Mito assumed he was nervous about facing Rika and let him think his mind, a faint smile playing on her lips. How wonderful. Her younger brother, whom she had watched grow up, was getting married, even before her. He was now a handsome young man. She would have to figure out how to get along with her future sister-in-law after she entered the family. Second brother, that Black Zetsu appeared during the day. He's so ugly and so cunning. He lied to us about a fart being poison gas, Ashina complained incessantly. When Jojuan returned home, it was already dark. He hadn't seen Uzumaki Ryu, he was probably handling official business at the clan headquarters. Get a good night's rest tonight, and be well rested when you meet Rika tomorrow. Don't be nervous, just treat her like a normal friend the first time you meet her, Mito comforted him, teaching her brother how to handle a relationship. Jojuan sighed. His sister simply didn't understand, he was bearing pressure he shouldn't have at his age. After a quick shower, Jojuan went to his room to sleep, but he couldn't fall asleep at all. He tossed and turned in bed, constantly thinking about how to resolve his political marriage with Hyuga Rika, even contemplating running away from home. Dad, you're just giving me trouble. I rarely have free time to do experiments, Jojuan lamented. In this world, he feared nothing but Uzumaki Ryu. It was the bloodline suppression between father and son, unrelated to strength. The night passed in a daze. The next morning, Mito woke Jojuan early, helping him with his clothes and hair. Ashina, still a baby, didn't know anything and was just excited watching. First impressions are crucial between men and women. You can't be sloppy, sister. I already met her yesterday, Jojuan interrupted weakly. Mito asked curiously, when did you meet her? While patrolling in the woods, they suddenly appeared and startled us. Our two groups even faced off for half an hour. What a coincidence, Mito's eyes lit up with a smile. Jojuan didn't mention that he'd smeared himself with mud, making him look like a proud swan, and probably hadn't even noticed him. He didn't want to be noticed either. Since you met yesterday, you don't need to be nervous later. Just talk to the girl properly. My brother is so handsome, she can't possibly not like him. After styling Jojuan's hair, Mito was increasingly satisfied, a strong sense of pride welling up inside her. Even though it was her younger brother's marriage that was arranged, she felt like it was her own son getting married. Was that normal? Yes, second brother is the most handsome, Ashina echoed like a shadow. Vulgar. Jojuan curled his lip. His looks are worthless compared to my inner talent. He had already figured out how to refuse the political marriage last night. Anyway, in his father's eyes, he was already a good-for-nothing fool. Since that was the case, what did it matter if he was a little more foolish? His father wouldn't hang him at the village entrance with a diamond chain to beat him, would he? It seemed that was actually possible. Next, the three siblings waited quietly at home. It was almost lunchtime, but Uzumaki Ryu hadn't returned yet. Dad only said yesterday that you two could meet, But he didn't say when or where. Mito muttered. Why don't we go find Dad first, Uzumaki Jojuan? You come out here. At this moment, a girl's sweet shout suddenly came from outside. Inside the room, Jojuan's eyes lit up. This woman seemed interesting. Don't you want to marry my brother? Mito asked. Of course not, Hyuga Rika readily admitted. I've already inquired. Uzumaki Jojuan is a good-for-nothing in your clan. At 16, he's still a special chunin. On the battlefield, he's not even cannon fodder. Who am I, Hyuga Rika? If I'm going to marry, it has to be a peerless hero. Even though Mito was gentle, she couldn't help but get angry when she heard the other party insult her brother. She coldly said, show some respect when you speak. Did I say anything wrong? Hyuga Rika didn't back down. If Uzumaki Jojuan has the guts, come out and fight me. If you can beat me, I'll agree to marry him. If you can't, then stop dreaming. Mito took a step forward, wanting to teach her a lesson. You, sister, let's do as she says. I'll fight her. A voice suddenly came from inside the room. Hyuga Rika was slightly startled. For some reason, this voice felt warm and clean to her ears. She looked up and saw a smartly dressed, red-haired young man emerge from the doorway. He was tall and slender, with handsome features, striking eyebrows, and bright eyes, exuding an air of elegance. Sunlight bathed him, casting a golden outline around his figure. You're Uzumaki's Hyakugan. For some reason, Hinata Rika's tone was no longer so aggressive. She hadn't expected such a handsome young man to exist in the Uzumaki clan. No, to be precise, she had never seen such a handsome young man before. Her heart suddenly began to pound uncontrollably. Yes, I am Uzumaki's Hyakugan. Hyakugan walked towards her, apologetically saying, I didn't expect to cause Miss Rika so much trouble. I'm very sorry. I will tell my father about our matter and have him cancel the engagement. Quotation mark. Chapter 19. You must recognize your place in the future. What do you plan to say? I can only tell you the truth. I'm mediocre and unworthy of Miss Rika, Jojuan said. Rika's expression softened slightly, and she snorted, at least you have the self-awareness to know you're not good enough for me. Jojuan smiled bitterly on the surface, but was secretly overjoyed. With her cooperation, it would be difficult not to back down from this political marriage. Then fight me now and let me see what you're capable of. Jojuan hesitated. Isn't it necessary? I'll explain to my father anyway. Stop talking nonsense. Didn't you just say you wanted to fight me? Don't go too far. My brother has already agreed not to marry you. Mito was very angry. After this encounter with Rika, she didn't approve of this sister-in-law from the bottom of her heart. She felt that if Jojuan were with her, he would definitely be bullied to death. A real man keeps his word. Is your brother not a man? Rika glanced at her sideways. Mito couldn't hold back any longer. Want to fight? I'll fight you, sister, don't interfere. This is between her and me. Let's settle this between the two of us. Jojuan pulled her back. He was helpless. To avoid things getting more complicated, taking a beating was worth it. Rika-san, let's fight. He stood in front of Hyuga Rika, adopting a sparring stance. Hyuga Rika's expression was complicated. Aren't you afraid? I can kill you with one palm. Mito was furious again upon hearing this. If it weren't for Jojuan's dignity, she would have fought for her brother and taught him a lesson. She knew very well that he wouldn't dare to go all out. If Rika really dared to injure or cripple Jojuan, her Hyuga clan wouldn't be able to leave Uzashio village. I'm afraid, but some things have to be faced. You've got some backbone. I'm going to make my move. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. As soon as she finished speaking, Hyuga Rika's figure blurred, and she charged straight at Jojuan. Clone Jutsu. Jojuan formed hand seals and created 3 clones, using the strength of a special chunin to fight. Hyuga Rika didn't even need to activate a Byakugan. She saw through the clones' illusions at a glance, blasting them apart with a series of bangs, and then slamming a palm towards Jojuan's face. Mito exclaimed, "Watch out!" Whoosh! A gust of wind swept past, ruffling Jojuan's neatly styled red hair. Looking at the hand that was only centimeters away from him, he sighed, "I lost. You're too weak." Hyuga Rika withdrew her hand, her beautiful face taut and cold. "I won't marry someone as weak as you." Jojuan remained silent, feeling quite aggrieved by being mocked by a little girl, thinking about using his Black Zetsu disguise to beat her up another day. "Don't think too highly of yourself. My brother doesn't want to marry you." Mito, acting like a brother-protecting fanatic, rushed over to stand up for Jojuan. Hyuga Rika glanced at her and continued, "Jojuan, you know it too, I really dislike you. Even you yourself feel you're not good enough for me." Jojuan gritted her teeth inwardly, feeling like she was embodying the useless bride breaking off engagement trope. The key is, if you're going to break off the engagement, just break it off. Why are you so smug? If my sister gets angry, she'll hang you at the village entrance with her Vajra chains, and nobody here can help you. But, Hyuga Rika suddenly changed the subject. Marriage has always been arranged by parents and matchmakers. Since my father has betrothed me to you, my unwillingness is useless. So, in the future, you must understand your place. Jojuan was stunned. Huh? In the future? What future? Looking at Hyuga Rika's slightly flushed cheeks, he was a little confused. Not only him, but Mito and Nashina were also puzzled. What do you mean? Hinata Rika glared at him angrily. My father has already agreed to the marriage, what can I do? No, Jojuan said urgently, you came here to annul the engagement, didn't you? My father arranged the marriage, how can I annul it? Hinata Rika was furious and wanted to beat him up. This man was so ungrateful, she had already said all that. Jojuan was clever and realized what was going on. It turned out that the other party didn't reject the marriage alliance, she had come with such force to establish her authority and solidify her position after the marriage. This was ridiculous. Don't worry, leave it to me, I'll annul it. Jojuan took it all on. How will you annul it? I'm not good enough for you, that's right, so you need to recognize your place in the future. Hinata Rika repeatedly emphasized this point. Recognize my foot. Jojuan was fed up and turned to go out to find his father. Just then, Uzumaki Ryu and Hinata Tenfu returned. Looking at the young people in the courtyard, Uzumaki Ryu rarely smiled at Jojuan. You've already spoken with Rika. Mito hesitated, already certain that her brother was not worthy of this sister-in-law. Even if she were willing to marry him, he couldn't, otherwise she would fight with her sooner or later. Jojuan mustered his courage and said, forcing a smile, Father, please cancel my engagement with Rika. Uzumaki Ryu's smile froze. Hyuga Rika stared at him intently, unconsciously biting her lip. She didn't think Uzumaki Ryu would agree. He was such a shrewd and calculating old fox. Her marriage to his son was purely his son's way of marrying above his station. He was the one who proposed the engagement, and forming an alliance with the Hyuga clan would greatly benefit the Uzumaki clan. From any perspective, Uzumaki Ryu had no reason to break off the engagement. Reason, Uzumaki Ryu said expressionlessly. He made a decision, if his son used excuses like she's a genius and I'm not good enough for her, he would hang him up and beat him on the spot with the Vajra chains. I already have a girl I like, I love her very much, and I won't marry anyone else but her. This was the plan Jojuan came up with last night. He was like a dead pig that doesn't fear boiling water. He'd already been beaten by his father countless times, so he might as well rebel and get another beating. Silence fell over the room. Hinata Rika's fists clenched so tightly they cracked, regretting that her earlier strike hadn't knocked Jojuan's skull off. Hinata Tenfu's face darkened. Step back. After a long silence, Uzumaki Dragon finally spoke, breaking the stillness. Continued patrolling the guard post. Jojuan was deeply surprised. He hadn't expected his father's reaction to be so calm. Aren't you going to hang me up with the Vajra chains and beat me? If you don't beat me, I feel a little uneasy. Aren't you leaving? Oh, okay, I'll go patrolling now. Although he didn't know what his father was thinking, at least he hadn't attacked, so Jojuan quickly made his escape. Hinata Rika's gaze was both resentful and angry. Dragon Clan Chief, what do you mean by this? Hinata Tenfu immediately questioned him. The other party proposed the marriage, and now they're the ones breaking off the engagement. Do they really think the Hyuga clan has no face? I'm sorry, I didn't realize my son already had someone he liked. It was my oversight. Uzumaki Dragon apologized readily. Chapter 20 The Birth of a Caged Bird. My second son is indeed too mediocre. Otherwise, we could find another talented young man from the Uzumaki clan. We would never mistreat the daughter of the Shianfu clan leader. I won't marry anyone, Hyuga Rika shouted angrily and ran out the door without looking back. Father, I'll go see her. Hyuga Tenyin felt a headache coming on. Fearing his sister's impulsiveness, he chased after her to persuade her. Hyuga Tenfu's expression changed from dark to light. He had to admit that Uzumaki Ryu's actions were truly unethical, a slap in the face to the Hyuga clan. If he didn't need something from Uzumaki Ryu, he would definitely have made Uzumaki Ryu give an explanation. As for now, he could only swallow his anger. Young Master Jojuan, why are you back so soon? In the woods, Uzumaki Maple and the other guards were quite surprised. They thought he had gone back last night to prepare for the wedding. Something went wrong. That girl isn't suitable for me, Jojuan said vaguely, not wanting to talk about Hyuga Rika with others. Everyone, be on high alert. Patrol quickly, and stop thinking about slacking off. After giving this order, he found a comfortable spot to lie down and sleep, covering his face with leaves. Everyone, Jojuan couldn't sleep, his mind heavy with worries. He felt the engagement was called off too easily, so easily that he felt insecure. He had prepared himself for a beating from his father, but his father hadn't reacted at all. If his political marriage with Hyuga Rika had gone through, the two clans could have formed an alliance. The Uzumaki already had the Senju as an ally. If they added the Hyuga, they would have become a behemoth, potentially even changing the current chaotic situation in the Land of Fire. But his father had brushed such a big matter off so casually. Did his father really believe his lies, his fatherly love kicking in, willing to sacrifice the family's interests so he could be with a person he loved? Thinking of this, a warm feeling welled up from the depths of Jojuan's heart. His father's love had always been so subtle and gentle. At the same time, he was also very unsettled. The claim of having a girl he liked was entirely fabricated. He was terrified if Uzumaki Dragon ever asked him to bring her to him. In that case, his father's love would be shattered. For the next few days, Jojuan dared not return home, fearing his father would cause trouble. He ate and slept in the mountains with the guards, eating dry rations and picking wild fruits when hungry, drinking mountain spring water when thirsty. He didn't even dare return to the laboratory to fuse his eyes. 3 days later, in the clan head's building of Uzumaki village. Clan head Shianfu, the sealing technique you wanted is in the scroll. Uzumaki Dragon handed a scroll containing the sealing technique to Hyuga Shianfu. You set the activation and deactivation techniques for the cursed seal yourself. I'm just the developer, no one else knows about it except you. Hyuga Shianfu breathed a sigh of relief. He naturally had to set the activation technique for the cursed seal himself, as it concerned the lives of all the branch clan members. He couldn't entrust it to someone else. Thank you, Clan Chief Long, Clan Chief Shianfu, you're too kind. Your generous gift has greatly helped our Whirlpool village, said the Whirlpool Dragon. Although our two clans ultimately couldn't form a marriage alliance, we can still maintain close ties in the future. Cooperation is something that grows stronger with practice. Hyuga Shianfu nodded. Exactly, this sealing technique doesn't have a name yet, so let Clan Chief Shianfu give it one, a name. Hyuga Shianfu pondered, looking up as a bird flew past the window. Let's call it, Bird in a Cage, the Whirlpool Dragon thought thoughtfully. A bird caged in a cage signifies the loss of freedom, just like the person under this sealing technique. From then on, their fate is in the hands of others, not their own. The Whirlpool Dragon actually disapproved of Hyuga Shianfu using sealing techniques to control the branch clan members, finding it extremely cruel, even treating his own clan members as less than human. However, he had no right to comment on the Hyuga clan's internal affairs. He only thought about it in his heart. My people will bring the last batch of grain this evening. It's time for us to leave. Thank you for your hospitality these past few days, Chief Dragon. In the mountains, Jojuan, having had a good afternoon nap, began his daily patrol with the guards. He had to admit, this kind of leisurely life was quite relaxing. If only it could continue forever, he wouldn't have to be so focused on figuring out how to gouge out his eyes to improve himself. Unfortunately, life isn't always smooth sailing. There were too many variables ahead, and without cage-level strength, one was still just an ant. Passing through a dense forest, Uzumaki Maple suddenly saw a girl sitting on a large tree ahead. Who are you? Uzumaki Maple immediately became alert, and the others tensed up as well. I'm here to see Uzumaki Jojuan, the girl replied casually, her eyes snow-white and beautiful, munching on an unknown fruit, her long, slender legs swinging in the air. Uzumaki Maple then realized that the other party was the group of Hyuga clan members from 4 days ago, and immediately lowered his guard, turning his gaze to Jojuan. Jojuan, suffering from a toothache but unable to ignore her, could only ask, Miss Rika, what brings you here? Nonsense, of course I need something. Why would I bother you? Rika Hinata always spoke concisely. Come sit here. She patted the branch beneath her, then said to the others, you all go now. I need to talk to Jojuan alone. The others hesitated. After all, she was from another clan, They were worried about leaving the clan leader's son alone with her. Jojuan sighed inwardly. You all go first. She and I are friends. Since Rika Hinata had come looking for him, whether she wanted trouble or something else, there was no escaping it. He could only deal with her as she came. Soon, Uzumaki Kid and the others left, and Jojuan jumped down from the branch and sat beside Rika Hinata. As if by magic, Hinata Rika produced a fruit from nowhere, wiped it on her clothes, and said, "Here, have some." "Thank you." Jojuan didn't refuse, taking the fruit and starting to eat. For a moment, the treetops were filled with a crisp crunch of the two of them eating fruit. "Who is that girl?" Hinata Rika suddenly asked. "What girl? What do you think?" Hinata Rika stared at him intently, like a resentful woman who had been seduced and abandoned. Jojuan suddenly realized, she's from our Uzumaki clan, and we're childhood friends. Is she stronger than me? No. Is she prettier than me? Yes. You letcher. Hinata Rika spat at him angrily. Jojuan explained, it has nothing to do with whether you're pretty or not, it's mainly because we have a deep relationship. You'll regret it if you don't marry me. Hinata Rika said to herself, my brother analyzed it for me. You're just an ordinary person in your family, nothing special. In the future, the great cause of the Uzumaki clan will either fall on your sister or your brother, and it will have nothing to do with you. Chapter 21 The Great Melee of 100 Races. If you married me, things would be different. With the Hyuga clan as your backing, even if you're not capable yourself, you'd still hold a significant position within the Uzumaki clan. Jojuan didn't deny it. You're right, but I don't have any grand ambitions. I just want to find someone I like in the future, whether they're poor or rich, just to live a peaceful life together. What's the point of that? Hyuga Rika pouted. A person's life should be lived in a spectacular and earth-shattering way, only then is it worthwhile. Everyone has different ideas. Hyuga Rika scoffed, then thought for a moment and said, but hearing you say that makes me feel much better. Uzumaki Jojuan, you're just a bit handsome. Aside from that, you're just a nobody with no ambition. I am a nobody, Jojuan readily admitted. So, you really don't deserve me. I could crush you with a single finger, whatever makes you happy. Jojuan couldn't stand her anymore and decided that he would definitely use his Black Zetsu identity to beat this girl up someday. I'm quite happy. I want to hear you say you're not good enough for me again. Hinata Rika chuckled. I'm not good enough, Jojuan's eyes widened suddenly. Hinata Rika had somehow moved closer, their lips meeting. They were so close he could even see the fine downy hairs on her face, the sweet scent of fruit filling his mouth. A moment later, their lips parted. Hinata Rika patted her bottom and stood up, her face full of pride and self-satisfaction, like a proud white swan. I, Hinata Rika, dare to love and hate, Jojuan. It's not that you won't marry me, it's that you're not good enough for me, the girl declared, head held high, facing the sunlight. Jojuan stared at her, incredulous. Had I been defiled? Was I no longer pure? Little man, I'm going back to my clan to do something earth-shattering. If we meet on the battlefield again, I won't kill you. Leaving those last words, Hinata Rika leaped to another treetop, disappearing from sight in a few bounds, her movements swift and agile. Jojuan touched his lips, as if he could still feel the warmth she had left behind. Girls from the Warring States period, quite interesting, he belatedly realized. He could have resisted, but he didn't, not because he didn't dislike the feeling, but because he was afraid of revealing his strength. That was it. Fine, I won't hold it against you. I won't need to use my disguise to beat you up anymore, Jojuan thought, abandoning his earlier decision. On the fourth day after the Hyuga clan arrived in Uzashio village, they left with the sealing technique they wanted. Jojuan was deeply saddened and helpless. From now on, he could forget about getting Byakugan on the battlefield. His 132 Byakugan in his lab would become a non-renewable resource. Every one used was one less. If I melt all these 100+ Byakugan and still can't get the Tenseigan, then I'm doomed. All my previous efforts will have been in vain, Jojuan often sighed to himself in the lab. Did he have to wait for Otsutsuki Tonari to appear and gouge out his eyes before he could get the Tenseigan? But by then, he would be long dead, a handful of dust. Let's take it one step at a time. Jojuan was relieved that he hadn't completely failed. His remaining 100-odd Byakugan were his last chance. With the hope of acquiring the Byakugan gone, he naturally shifted his focus to the Sharingan. Though the Rinnegan was equally important. He sent a shadow clone to infiltrate the vicinity of the Uchiha clan's territory, so he could be informed immediately of any Uchiha war activity. However, The Uchiha had been unusually well behaved lately, not engaging in any further battles with any other ninja clans since their fight with the Hyuga half a month ago. The reason for this was largely due to the Uzumaki clan's efforts. The Uchiha and Senju were mortal enemies, Kaguya and the Uzumaki were mortal enemies, while the Uzumaki and Senju were allies. Adhering to the principle that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, the Uchiha had long ago allied with Kaguya, and the four clans often fought fiercely and relentlessly. Recently, the Uzumaki clan has been building a village and recruiting civilians. The Uchiha and Kaguya both believe the Uzumaki can't sustain the situation and will eventually be dragged down by the civilians. Therefore, both clans have been conserving their strength, waiting for the day the Uzumaki collapses so they can pounce, divide the spoils, and then besiege the Senju. You've got a pretty good plan, but even if you wait 10 or 8 years, Uzumaki village won't fall. Jojuan was well aware of the two clans' intentions and thought they were naive and foolish. They were all kept in the dark. From the day they received the daimyo's aid, the Uzumaki clan's rise was already destined. With the Uchiha and Kaguya conserving their strength, the Senju naturally had no battles to fight and could only stay in their clan's territory to focus on development. Jojuan really wanted to get some Hashirama cells for experiments, but he didn't have the means. Time passed, and another half-month went by. Many things happened in these 2 weeks. The population of Uzumaki village stabilized at 30,000, and the initial outline of the village had been built. What excited Jojuan most was that his Sharingan fusion experiment had finally achieved a major breakthrough. After fusing with dozens of Sharingan, the 3-tomo Sharingan's ocular power increased dramatically, causing the 3-tomo to curve and enlarge, showing signs of connecting. Jojuan knew very well that once the 3-tomo connected, it would evolve into the main Gekkyou Sharingan, and he eagerly awaited that day. Even with the Uzumaki, Senju, Uchiha, and Kaguya clans recuperating, the situation in the Land of Fire remained chaotic and turbulent. Jojuan had placed shadow clones as spies outside the country to get a general understanding of the situation. Currently, the main battlefield was between the Sarutobi and Kirima clans. These two clans were mortal enemies, and in terms of foundation, they were in no way inferior to the Uzumaki and Senju, being top-tier clans as well. Sarutobi Sasuke, the young clan leader of the Sarutobi clan, displayed astonishing military talent, rallying the Akimichi, Yamanaka, and Nara clans as allies. This drew in the Shimura clan, who had a long-standing feud with the Nara. The Shimura clan, along with their ally the Aburane clan, joined forces with Kirima. On the way, they encountered the Inuzuka clan, mistaking them for part of the Ino Shikacho trio, and beat them up. Inuzuka, caught on the crossfire, was furious and dragged his allies, the Namokes, Hatake, and Gecko clans, into the fray. The battlefield situation changed rapidly, with every move having far-reaching consequences. A new round of chaotic battles involving hundreds of clans had begun. Jojuan was grateful that he had pushed forward the construction plan for Uzashio village ahead of time, otherwise, the Uzumaki clan would certainly have been drawn into the war, and he wouldn't have had so much time to conduct experiments. Half a month later, Jojuan received a summons from his father and returned home. Mito, Jojuan, you two prepare yourselves. Tomorrow you're coming with me to the capital of the Land of Fire, Uzumaki Ryu instructed. What are you going to the capital of the Land of Fire for? Jojuan felt guilty. Could it be that the daimyo's aid of money and supplies had been exposed? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22, able to handle anyone to some extent. The daimyo has sent envoys to invite various ninja clans to the Imperial Palace. The specifics of the discussions are currently unknown, Uzumaki Ryu informed them. Jojuan pondered. Since every ninja clan was invited, it shouldn't be about aid supplies. Besides, even if the aid supplies were exposed, he didn't need to worry. He had used Naruto's identity. His father might have had suspicions, but there was no reason for him to suspect him. Ashina had never been to the Land of Fire's capital before and longed to go, but Uzumaki Ryu hadn't agreed, telling him to stay in Uzashio village to assist the elders and other high-ranking clan members. Uzumaki Ryu's cultivation of his youngest son was obvious to everyone. The next morning, after packing their belongings, the group prepared to depart. Besides Mito and Jojuan, Uzumaki Ryu brought 50 Uzumaki clan members as guards, making it a fairly large group. The ninjas traveled quickly, setting off from Uzashio village in the morning and arriving at the capital in the afternoon. Along the way, they encountered many other ninja clans invited by the daimyo. These clans didn't have a friendly relationship with the Uzumaki clan, and they didn't greet each other, acting like strangers. In the land of fire, the daimyo's power and prestige were now quite low, almost like a mascot. However, a daimyo was still a daimyo, and before any usurpation, all the ninja clans had to outwardly show him respect. Therefore, almost all the ninja clans accepted the invitation. "Sister, are those people from the Namokaze clan?" Jojuan noticed a group of people with golden hair in the distance and made small talk with Mito. Mito glanced at their hair color and nodded. "Yes, the Namokaze is just a small clan, not very powerful, and they don't have much of a grudge against us. Don't worry about them." "I see." Even so, Jojuan still curiously observed them, secretly wondering which one was Namokaze Minato's grandfather. Observing the present with a vision of the future was a very strange experience. As they drew closer to the capital of the Land of Fire, Jojuan saw more and more ninja clans, such as the Hatake, Inuzuka, Aburame, Sarutobi, and Kurama clans, most of whom would become members of Konoha. Upon arriving at the city gates, a group of silver-haired people were already waiting. Seeing them, everyone's hearts pounded, and they unconsciously tense up. "Clan Chief Dragon, how have you been?" Kaguya greeted him with a malicious smile. "Thanks to the iron mine, we've been doing quite well lately," Uzumaki Dragon replied casually. Kaguya's smile froze. She understood he was referring to the iron mine they had stolen. "How, I heard Uzumaki village now has 30,000 people." "Not that many, only 30 times more than your Kaguya clan." The moment they met, tensions flared, like needles clashing. Both groups immediately became extremely wary. "A big appetite is a good thing, but I'm afraid of overestimating yourself and ending up killing yourself," Kaguya said leisurely. "No need for Chief Jing's worries. Even if your Kaguya clan starves to death, our Uzumaki clan won't suffocate you." "Ha ha ha. Chief Long, I didn't expect you to arrive even faster than us." A rough and hearty laugh suddenly came from behind. Joe turned around and saw Senju Batsuma leading a group of Senju clan members towards them. Kaguya Jing, seeing that the Uzumaki's allies had arrived, knew that if anything went wrong, they would inevitably suffer losses. He snorted coldly and decisively led his clan into the city. "Brother Batsuma," Uzumaki Dragon greeted him with a smile. He had a good personal relationship with Senju Batsuma, so of course he couldn't treat his ally the same way he treated Kaguya Jing. "Clan Chief, I heard you developed a sealing technique for the Hyuga clan, which can prevent them from suffering from Black Zetsu again. That was half a month ago. I reckon the Uchiha clan is also interested. If they also ask you to buy the sealing technique, don't agree to it," said Senju Batsuma. The Senju and Uchiha were mortal enemies, and he naturally didn't want the Uchiha to have an easy time. Having Black Zetsu to annoy them was a great thing. "Even if I agreed, they wouldn't dare approach me." "That's true." "Ha ha ha." The two groups converged and entered the city, with Uzumaki Ryu and Senju Batsuma leading the way, chatting all the way. Jojuan's eyes darted around, suddenly looking around. Soon, he saw a tall, honest-looking young man, and beside him stood a handsome boy with silver hair. Hashirama and Tobirama. Jojuan was somewhat excited. Perhaps this trip to the capital would be the opportunity for him to obtain Hashirama's cells. Just as his heart was pounding, he suddenly saw Hashirama walking towards him again, and his heart skipped a beat for no apparent reason. Did he notice my strange behavior? Jojuan tensed up. Hashirama was the god of shinobi, his strength reaching the ceiling of the entire ninja world. To fight him, one would need the Rinnegan or Tenseigan. As Hashirama drew closer, Jojuan's heart beat faster and faster. "Mito, long time no see," he heard Hashirama greet him with a simple and honest voice. "Yeah, long time no see," Mito said with a smile. Then there was silence. Hashirama clenched his fists, and large beads of sweat kept appearing on his forehead. Tobirama couldn't stand it anymore and secretly nudged him. Sis, who is he?" Jojuan interrupted curiously. "His name is Senju Hashirama," Mito introduced him simply. Not only was Hashirama nervous, but she also felt her heart pounding. Jojuan was shocked. "Hashirama Senju? I've heard of you. You're that genius from the Senju clan who's incredibly skilled in wood release." Hashirama became even more nervous upon hearing this. quickly waving his hands. No, I'm not that great. Jojuan had secretly observed Hashirama on the battlefield before. Back then, Hashirama's advent of a world of trees swept through all enemies, displaying an invincible aura like a god descending to earth. Jojuan, lurking in the shadows, didn't even dare approach him. However, the Hashirama now, pale and flustered, was completely different from the invincible Hashirama on the battlefield. He seemed like a complete simpleton. Thinking of Hashirama's character in the original story, Jojuan understood. You must be Mito's younger brother, Uzumaki Ashina, right? Hashirama struggled to find a topic of conversation. I've heard of you two. They all say you're a chosen one, that you can easily find ninjutsu scrolls. Uzumaki Ashina is my brother. I'm Uzumaki Shōsō. Huh? Uzumaki Shōsō? This, Hashirama froze. He'd never heard of the name Uzumaki Shōsō before. Tobirama, standing nearby, frowned secretly, thinking, Mito had two younger brothers? This Uzumaki Shōsō is completely unknown. This name sounds nice. After stammering for a while, Hashirama finally managed to say something, and Shōsō inexplicably wanted to laugh. The god of shinobi was incredibly naive, perhaps he could trick him out of some cells. My father named me that, hoping I could handle anyone. Chapter 23 The Great Name Kneels. Yes, my name was given to me by my father too, Hashirama answered earnestly, introducing, this is my younger brother, Tobirama Senju. Hello. Tobirama extended his hand in a friendly manner. This was Mito's younger brother, who would likely become his elder brother's brother-in-law in the future, so he dared not be negligent. After a handshake and some pleasantries, Jojuan asked Hashirama curiously, how did you and my sister meet? Jojuan had never heard Mito mention Hashirama before, leading him to believe that the two hadn't met at this point in time, or that his presence had created a butterfly effect, preventing them from getting together as in the original story. Now it seemed that the two had known each other for a long time. 2 years ago, Mito and I joined forces on the battlefield against the Haguramo clan. At that time, Mito even saved my life. Saying this, Hashirama blushed awkwardly. 2 years ago, he was about Jojuan's age when he was seriously injured by the Haguramo clan leader. It was Mito who rolled up her sleeve and made him bite her hard, which healed Hashirama's injuries. The two then joined forces to kill the Haguramo clan leader, turning the tide of the battle. To his shame, the bite he took of Mito was his first kiss, and ever since, he had been unable to forget her. Sleepless nights, he would often pull Tobirama aside to tell him of his longing, driving the single Tobirama to the brink of despair. Oh, I see, Jojuan didn't know what Hashirama was thinking, but seeing his blushing face, she was certain his feelings for her sister were more than just comradeship. Sis, why didn't you tell me? Why would I tell you this? Mito felt something was off about talking to her brother about her and Hashirama. Don't you know I admire Hashirama? Dad always says he's the strongest young talent in the land of fire, and he wants me to learn from him. Mito, enough already. Hashirama, however, was delighted, seemingly considering it a great honor to be recognized by his younger brother. Clan Chief Dragon is too kind. I admire him greatly as well. His decision to establish Whirlpool Village was incredibly bold and will play a crucial role in resolving the chaos of the Land of Fire. Hashirama, an honest man, spoke the truth. His dream was to end the Warring States period and build a unified village where all races could coexist, and he regarded the Whirlpool Dragon as a pioneer. At the beginning of Whirlpool Village's establishment, he repeatedly suggested to his father, Senju Batsuma, that he establish a village like the Whirlpool Dragon. However, Senju Batsuma hesitated and lacked the necessary boldness, rejecting Hashirama's proposal and saying that if Hashirama had the ability, he could do it himself after becoming clan chief. Senju Batsuma and the Whirlpool Dragon chatted animatedly ahead, while Jojuan and Hashirama in the group also had a lively conversation, feeling as if they had known each other for a long time. After actually meeting Hashirama, Jojuan discovered that Hashirama was actually a very suitable person to be a friend. He didn't have many tricks up his sleeve or ulterior motives, he was straightforward and spoke his mind. With him, there was no need to worry about saying the wrong thing, you could relax as much as you wanted, while Jojuan himself was often nervous. Such a person would be great as a friend, but as an enemy, he would be extremely terrifying. Jojuan had no doubt about this. Passing through the bustling streets, two groups of people soon arrived at the palace gates. Guards were waiting to greet them and lead them to the banquet hall. The Uzumaki and Senju clans weren't the first to arrive, Kaguya, Sarutobi, Hatake, and other ninja were already sitting upright in the hall, only giving the two clans a cold, indifferent glance upon their rival. "Please, clan leaders, find a seat. Lord Daimyo will be here shortly," a guard said respectfully. Uzumaki Ryu and Senju Butsuma nodded and led their clansmen to their seats. The banquet hall was vast, capable of accommodating thousands, and even after all the members of both clans were seated, many seats remained empty. Time passed, and the atmosphere in the hall grew so quiet you could hear a pin drop. It was oppressive. Even Uzumaki Ryu and Senju Butsuma ceased their conversation, keeping their eyes downcast and remaining silent. The other ninja clans were the same. They had no desire for casual conversation. On the battlefield, they had wanted nothing more than to beat each other to pulp, fighting to the death. If it weren't for the daimyo's arrangement, they would never have shared a room. One ninja clan after another entered, gradually filing the spacious hall. Half an hour later, the Hyuga clan arrived. Hyuga Tenfu noticed Uzumaki Ryu, casting a friendly glance and nodding at him. Uzumaki Ryu returned the nod, but there was little verbal exchange. Jojuan noticed a subtle detail. A large portion of the Hyuga clan members behind Hyuga Tenfu wore an Iron Clan crest on their foreheads. "Has the caged bird seal been planted?" Jojuan mused thoughtfully. He continued to observe, his gaze sweeping over everyone, but he didn't see Hyuga Rika. For some reason, he felt a strange sense of loss, recalling the fresh fruity scent on his lips half a month ago, and his heart became restless. Slash. Slash. Slash, he muttered to himself. Women would only affect the speed at which he gouged out his eyes. He should do what's appropriate for his age. His primary goal now was to become stronger, not to think about love and romance. Without strength, he couldn't even protect the one he loved. Dusk fell. Almost all the well-known ninja clans in the Land of Fire had arrived. Those who hadn't come were just insignificant small clans, not even qualified to be invited by the daimyo. The daimyo made his grand entrance last, wearing a long, gold-embroidered robe, looking extremely noble and magnificent. "Greetings, Daimyo-sama." The clan leaders all rose and bowed to him, displaying their dutiful obedience. No need for formalities, the daimyo smiled slightly, his gaze lingering on the Uzumaki dragon for a moment, a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. His initial help proved worthwhile. The Uzumaki clan's establishment of Uzashio village did indeed have a positive effect, not only solving the problem of a large number of refugees, but also stabilizing the situation in the Land of Fire. Previously, the Uzumaki, Senju, Uchiha, and Kaguya clans were the most fiercely competitive in the Land of Fire. Now, these four clans have become more subdued, focusing on recuperation. Otherwise, the Land of Fire would certainly be even more chaotic. First of all, thank you all clan leaders for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this event, the daimyo began. He did not sit, and the various ninja clans stood with him. I imagine you clan leaders are all curious about the purpose of this banquet. I will not hide it, the daimyo's voice gradually lowered. To be honest, today, on behalf of the millions of people of the Land of Fire, as the daimyo, I implore you clan leaders to stop the war. With that, the daimyo knelt down before the various ninja clans with a thud. The hall, which held thousands of ninjas, fell silent instantly, and everyone looked at each other in bewilderment. P.S. New week, please vote for me. Chapter 24, not only will victory or defeat be decided, but life or death will also be determined. That evening, on the way to her former residence, Mito was still deeply moved and unable to calm down for a long time. Lord Daimyo has really gone to great lengths to quell the war, she remarked. Yes, Jojuan echoed, Lord Daimyo's kneeling was truly unexpected. The Land of Fire can finally be at peace. Uzumaki Ryu walked ahead without saying a word. Earlier in the hall, the daimyo's kneeling had moved everyone. Due to his status and influence, the clan leaders were caught in a dilemma, and in the end, the various ninja clans with grudges and disputes had no choice but to sign a ceasefire agreement under his mediation. The daimyo himself was very happy with this outcome, but Uzumaki Ryu felt it was quite inappropriate. The various clans did not willingly agree to the ceasefire, but were morally coerced by the daimyo. This was a false peace, and it could not last long. War would break out again in the long run. Moreover, the daimyo did not have much prestige to begin with, and his actions today were overdrawing his own authority. This kind of trick could only be done once at most. Next time, he feared that not many ninja clans would buy it. I must say, The daimyo really made a foolish move, Uzumaki Ryu thought to himself, shaking his head. A month ago, the daimyo secretly sent money and provisions to Uchiha village. At the time, Uzumaki Ryu thought he was a wise man hiding his true intentions, but after tonight, his perception of the daimyo had changed. Was the daimyo truly stupid, or was he just pretending? Don't let your guard down in the palace, and don't wander around aimlessly. We'll stay another night tomorrow and return the day after, Uzumaki Ryu instructed his children. The two naturally obeyed. Soon, led by guards, they arrived at their temporary quarters and went to their respective rooms to wash and rest. Jojuan had many ideas, constantly pondering how to obtain Hashirama's cells. Today, his interaction with Hashirama had brought them much closer, a rare opportunity. If he hadn't made progress by the time they returned the day after tomorrow, his hopes of obtaining Hashirama's cells would be even slimmer. Try fighting him in Black Zetsu's disguise, see if we can even scratch him. No way. What if he instantly kills me with one top transformed Buddha? I won't even have time to cry. We need to outsmart him, but how? We can't just say, hey Hashirama, I see you have extraordinary talent, cut off a piece of your flesh and give it to me, can we? Jojuan's head was spinning from thinking, feeling it was harder than getting his eyes out. Time always flies when you're thinking, and the night passed quietly like that. The next morning, Uzumaki Ryu went out to attend the clan head meeting organized by the daimyo. This meeting was only open to the clan heads of each ninja clan, mainly to finalize the ceasefire agreement established the night before, so Uzumaki Ryu only brought 2 guards, leaving Mito and Jojuan at their residence. After Uzumaki Ryu left, Mito sat quietly in the living room reading, occasionally turning her head to look out a window, the pages rustling softly. Sister, are you distracted? Jojuan paced back and forth in front of her, unable to resist asking. Where have I been distracted? Mito frowned, finding her younger brother's behavior strange. He'd been hovering around her all morning, doing who knows what. If you weren't distracted, why are you holding the book upside down? Jojuan scratched the back of his head, asking in surprise. Mito blushed quickly, but instead of straightening the book, she stubbornly insisted, reading from different angles gives you different insights. Really? Jojuan asked suspiciously, doubting that his sister was spouting nonsense with a straight face. After thinking for a moment, he said, Sister, should we go find Hashirama? I didn't get to talk to him enough yesterday. Mito looked tempted, but hesitated, shaking her head. Father told us not to wander around the palace. What does it matter? We're just going to find Hashirama, not somewhere else, Jojuan persuaded her. I really admire Hashirama. After we return to Uchiha village tomorrow, I don't know when I'll see him again. Mito was moved by the last sentence. After thinking for a moment, she closed her book. All right then, I'll take you, Uzumaki Jojuan, get out here. At this moment, a shout suddenly came from outside. Jojuan and Mito were both stunned, feeling that this scene was somewhat familiar. Half a month ago in Uchiha village, Hyuga Rika seemed to have also stormed in with a similar attitude. What did I do to deserve this? Jojuan was puzzled and depressed, wondering who was causing him trouble again. He had tried so hard to pretend to be a good-for-nothing, yet he still kept getting into trouble. If we didn't disguise ourselves, things would be terrible. The 2 siblings immediately went outside and saw a silver-haired man with a effeminate face standing menacingly in the courtyard. Kaguya Musashi. Mito instantly recognized him and became wary. Kaguya Musashi was the eldest son of Kaguya, and also the most outstanding genius of the Kaguya clan. He was known as one of the 7 heroes of the Warring States period, along with Uzumaki Mito, Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara, Sarutobi Sasuke, Hyuga Tenin, and Kurama Yachi. Mito naturally knew him well. Kaguya Musashi's gaze quickly swept over Miro, locking onto Jojuan, and he said in an unfriendly tone, You're Uzumaki Jojuan? HMPH, nameless coward. Jojuan was furious upon hearing this. Knowing that he was a nameless coward, he still came to pick a fight with him. Was he crazy? Kaguya Musashi, what do you want? Mito asked coldly. This is none of your business. Kaguya Musashi waved his hand impatiently, his target only Jojuan. Uzumaki Jojuan, I'm asking you, what did you do to Rika? Rika? Jojuan suddenly realized where the trouble came from. You want to know? Hell, I'm not telling you, Jojuan retorted, raising an eyebrow. Although he tried to appear ordinary, the other party had come knocking on his door, and besides, Kaguya and Uzumaki were mortal enemies, he couldn't back down. I'm warning you, Rika is not someone you can lay a finger on. She can only marry me in this lifetime. Kaguya gritted her teeth, blinded by jealousy. Crazy, Jojuan wanted to curse. He needed to find Hashirama to get some cells, and he didn't have time to deal with this idiot. Wanting to marry Rika is your business, why are you bothering me, you? Kaguya Musashi was furious. Uzumaki's Hakusen, I challenge you to a duel, have you forgotten? Your father just signed a ceasefire agreement in front of the daimyo last night, who takes that piece of paper seriously? I'm asking you, do you dare to face me like a man? Let's settle this once and for all. Mito was enraged. She had long suspected that Hyuga Rika was no good. She was already causing a lot of trouble before even marrying her. If she really became her brother's wife, wouldn't she be bringing bad luck to her brother? My brother doesn't care about you. If you want to fight, I can accompany you, Mito said calmly, once again transforming into a brother-protecting fanatic. I'm going after Uzumaki's Hakusen, get out of my way. Seeing that Hakusen dared not respond to her challenge, Kaguya Musashi could no longer suppress her anger. She activated her bloodline limit, Shikatsu Myaku, and her 10 finger bones shot out like bullets. Chapter 25 Hashirama Cells, acquired. Mito was about to counterattack when a deep voice rang out, wood release, ranking technique, a wooden shield rose from the ground, 10 finger bones embedded deep within, impenetrable. Hashirama, Kaguya Musashi's gaze sharpened, only one person could use wood release. He abruptly turned and saw Hashirama approaching from behind, his face stern, Tobirama beside him, a faint, mocking smile playing on his lips. Kaguya Musashi, we just signed a truce agreement last night, and you're already itching to act, Tobirama sneered. Even your father, Kaguya Ike, wouldn't dare be so arrogant. Kaguya Musashi's expression flickered. Mito alone was only a match for him, but with Hashirama and Tobirama added to the mix, he was no match for them, and might even be left behind. He quickly made the most advantageous decision, coldly snorting at Jojuan. Jojuan, don't let me run into you on the battlefield. You can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. Leaving these harsh words, he turned and strode away, trying not to make his figure look disheveled, coming and going in a hurry. This guy definitely has something wrong with his head, being openly threatened. It was impossible for Jojuan not to be angry, but there was nothing he could do. After all, Kaguya was a genius of the same level as Mito, and even if he used the Black Zetsu disguise, he might not be a match for him. Unless he could fuse the eyes. Taking a few deep breaths to dispel his frustration, Jojuan stepped forward to greet the two. Brother Hashirama, Brother Tobirama, you came just in time. Thank you for helping me solve this problem. You're welcome. The Kaguya clan went too far, completely disregarding last night's ceasefire agreement, Hashirama said, also getting angry. His greatest dream was to end the chaotic world, and last night's ceasefire agreement gave him hope of realizing his dream, but Kaguya-san's actions just now poured cold water on his hopes. We could have made peace, but some people just don't follow the rules, and that's the worst thing. You need to be careful in the future. Judging from Kaguya's expression, she's really holding a grudge against you, Tobirama warned. It's alright, I'm usually in Yuzashio village, I'm not afraid of him. Suddenly, Jojuan seemed to remember something and changed the subject. Brother Tobirama, did you know beforehand that Kaguya was going to cause trouble, so you came to help? No, it was my brother who wanted to come to you first. Right, brother, Tobirama nudged Hashirama's elbow. Why yes, right. Hashirama secretly glanced at Mito, and finding her looking at him too, quickly looked away, his face flushing awkwardly. Jojuan, seeing this, seemed thoughtful. Goodness, she really is after my sister. Don't stand outside, come in and sit down, Mito said. Okay, tea sets and tea leaves were prepared in the room. Mito, having been influenced by Uzumaki Dragon since childhood, was skilled in tea ceremony and gracefully brewed tea for the three of them. Hashirama knelt opposite Mito, his back ramrod straight as a javelin, his hands gripping his trousers, unsure what to say, his eyes pleadingly fixed on Tobirama. Tobirama was at his wit's end, thinking his older brother was hopeless. He was so bold and straightforward in the clan's territory, drinking and eating heartily, practically leaping onto the table when rolling dice, but standing in front of Mito, he immediately cowered, becoming as silent as a mummified gourd. How could he possibly marry the jewel of the Uzumaki clan like this? This was going to be difficult. My sister was originally planning to take me to see you, but you came first, probably out of unspoken agreement, Jojuan chuckled. Mito's hand trembled, nearly spilling her tea. Tobirama, however, sensed something unusual. What did his little brother mean by that? Did Miro also want to see his older brother? Our two clans are allies, it's good to spend time together when we have time, Tobirama said with a smile, inexplicably finding Jojuan agreeable. If we hadn't come to the capital this time, my brother and I wouldn't have known that the Dragon Clan chief had a second son. That's such a shame. We should have met you sooner, is that so? Jojuan was very enthusiastic. To be honest, after chatting with Brother Hashirama and Brother Tobirama yesterday, I also felt like we had known each other for a long time. We young people should keep in touch, that's right. My brother and I will try to visit Whirlpool Village as often as possible. Please don't think we're a bother when we do. Of course not, Mito said, glancing up at Hashirama, who was staring intently at the teacup on the table, looking very serious. We're more than happy to have you as our guests. Jojuan paused, then a sudden idea flashed in his mind. How about this, Brother Hashirama, Brother Tobirama, since we all share similar temperaments and feel like we've known each other for a long time, why don't we become sworn brothers? Sworn brothers, the three of them were taken aback. That's right, Jojuan said. We're allies, and if we become sworn brothers, our relationship will be even closer. Before Mito and Hashirama could react, Tobirama was overjoyed. He needed to find a way to help his older brother woo Mito, so the closer their relationship, the better. Alright, Brother Jojuan, you've got me on the right track. I was thinking the same thing, Tobirama immediately agreed. Sworn brothers are a good idea. Hashirama naturally had no objections, though he sounded a little unsure of himself. Sister, what about you? Mito was both amused and annoyed. We're siblings, why would we become sworn brothers? That's different. You can become sworn brothers with Brother Hashirama and Brother Tobirama, Jojuan argued confidently. In these chaotic times, one person is weak and alone. Having more sworn brothers can only be beneficial. Brother Jojuan is right. My elder brother and I have both admired Sister Mito for a long time. If Sister Mito doesn't mind, I'd like to become her younger brother in the future. Tobirama was quite excited as he tried to mediate. Mito was speechless, finding her younger brother and Tobirama's ideas rather absurd, even going so far as to propose a sworn brotherhood. Did they think this was child's play? Seeing the three's expectant gazes, Mito hesitated for a moment, then said helplessly, "Alright." Jojuan, waiting for her nod, immediately grabbed a large porcelain bowl and pulled a kunai from his pocket. Today, the four of us swear a blood oath. Jojuan displayed a heroic and righteous air, gritted his teeth, and slashed his wrist with a kunai, blood immediately flowing down. Stop, Mito was startled by her brother's foolish behavior and quickly stopped him. Sister, it's alright, just a little blood. A real man's pain is nothing compared to a sworn brotherhood. Jojuan said nonchalantly. After Mito used medical ninjutsu to stop the bleeding, he handed the bowl to Tobirama. Looking at the thick blood in the bowl, Tobirama felt a deep respect for Jojuan, and then, not to be outdone, also slashed his wrist with a kunai. I'll do anything to help my older brother get married. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all, see you in the next video.